Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. We got a packed show for you guys planned for today. I'm excited to be back. Yes, off my painkillers. I'm mentally stable today. Thank you guys for being patient with me. Sam Flannel joining me as always, a partner in crime. Look at that man. No flannel. Looking sharp this morning, Sam.
Oh, I appreciate it. Somebody who a lot of people would think is more often than not mentally unstable, but I can assure you I am just fine. You know what? I love that Booner and Broder sweeper that we have. I love it when Booner does that slow motion elbow of Broder, just like
you can just hear him.
Yeah.
You can tell it's personal.
Oh yeah, it's 100% personal.
We got JB in the sound booth. Rocking the is that Poison Ivy?
Yeah, Poison Ivy.
If only he was starting, but that's another conversation.
Sad story.
Nice of you to wear the second greatest player of all time, the hat. Nice to support him. That's nice.
Of course.
JB.
The
GOAT. And we got Lucas Klotz, Toledo's own, Toledo's finest, on the ones and twos for us, ready to go. And guys, again, a lot of updates today. We got a lot of footage from yesterday's practice. It was nice. Broder was down there. He got a lot of footage for us. We'll be going through that at 8:15. A lot of interesting clips. Some guys that were injured. They're moving around a little bit. And you'll get an update on who those guys are. But, of course, thank you, everyone, for joining this show. We got the Ski Mask Boy in the chat. Chuck Brewer, as always. Vapors, Phil, Justin from North Carolina, Paul Thomas. The entire crew, thank you guys for joining the show. Mr. Ray as well. I saw Lucas chirping LeBron, but, you know. I don't know that. I saw that Dylan Brooks comment. He said, "I'm going to lock LeBron up." Well, we'll see tonight. But, they take on the Rockets. Last time he said that didn't age well. So
Dylan Brooks is one of those like just needs to shut up.
And there was Pistons fans who wanted Dylan Brooks.
Oh my God.
On the Pistons. I get it. Like, you want a guy with attitude. I don't want that guy.
Well, funny, you said he's actually playing pretty well this year.
That's the thing. Dylan Brooks is actually playing very well this year. But you know what? There's a snowball's chance in hell that he locks up LeBron James. LeBron James is going to lock in like he's back in Miami or back in his second stint in Cleveland or maybe even his first stint. He's going to turn back the clock and put up a dominant game. That was still, even though in the playoffs last year, the Lakers season ultimately ended up in disappointment. I know there were a lot of people that didn't think they could beat Memphis. Of course they did. Dylan Brooks talked his shit and then basically ran away like a bitch when he was confronted about it. So, I mean, that's just who he is.
Well, your boy Data Davis is already hurt, so.
I mean, he dominated that series, though, and he dominated the Warriors. That did happen.
That did happen in the past. He is currently hurt, so.
He'll be fine.
Speaking of... That's going to be Dylan Brooks. Actually, that was me last night watching the Redwings. I'm going to be honest with you. Tuned into the Redwings game, man. Watch the first period. It was smooth. They were down 1-0. And then the second period came and they're down 5-0. I blinked and it happened. And that was me. That is live reaction to me watching the Redwings last night. Third period, they caught up a little bit, but man, the final score does not tell the full story there. We talked about it yesterday, Sam.
Yeah.
You just needed a point.
Yeah.
They didn't get a point. It's okay though; they're still in the playoffs at this very point. But they are 2-5 over the last 7 games.
Well, and that's the problem. And obviously, going into New York and playing the Rangers at the Garden, that's a big ask this
Tough
year.
Game. Yeah.
All I know is they have to get back on track and win the games that they're supposed to win. I mean, obviously, they're going to have some home games throughout the year against teams like the Blackhawks and teams like the San Jose Sharks, who are absolutely morbid. If you're going to drop some understandable games, you then have to come home back to Little Caesars Arena when you have the more winnable ones and take care of business. And if they do that, and if they can occasionally steal one like they did from Boston the game before, then the Red Wings are going to be just fine and they're going to make the playoffs just like I asked. So I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to say that it was a huge deal. They just can't let that loss turn into multiple. That's all.
And tomorrow you got a home game against the Montreal Canadiens, and they're on a 4-game losing streak. So
we got to win that game. That's a perfect example right there.
Talk about a get-right game, Sam.
Example.
That's it right there. And, of course, the Red Wings so far this season, it's a stinker. But, hey, the Rangers are a tough team. I mean, that's a big – you go to New York and you face the Rangers. I can't hate that. Obviously, it's not the result you expected. But, again, they'll still be fine moving forward. I'm not too worried about that. Another news, though, NFL-related, Aaron Rodgers. You guys see that clip? Derwin James asking him, "You playing this year?"
Let me get it.
Yeah, well, I saw the clip yesterday, and I was a little shocked because I know Aaron Rodgers has been teasing people about, when he's returning exactly, and you think Achilles injury, he's out for the season. That's typically how it works, especially for a guy like Aaron who's old as hell. He's 39 years old, about to be 40, and when you have an injury like that, typically for even a guy that's 25, you're out, 8 to 12 months, whatever the case is, for most people. Now, for Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what kind of medicine this man's on, the ayahuasca. I don't know what speeds up the process.
That mentholtryptamine.
Yeah, that mentholtryptamine. That man might be back this season. And again, the question is that even realistic? And this is my problem, too, because we talked about the Jets when he first got injured, and I felt like, hey, you should go get somebody to at least hold it down for you. Zach Wilson stinks. You knew that. But Robert Saleh thought differently, or at least thought Zach could hold it down, and it has not been the case. They had a winning record until Monday night. Now they're 5-5, I believe. They're 500. And even if he comes back this season, what is there left to save? Like, they might, by the time he gets back, Sam, they might be under 500.
Well,
and you got a bad offensive line. He might get hurt again.
Well, that's the thing. Imagine, and I know nobody knew this at the time, imagine if the New York Jets would have traded for Josh Dobbs. I mean, I get it. At the time, nobody knew that Josh Dobbs was going to be serviceable, but at the same time, if they would have just gotten somebody, I know it's tough. They were buried under the Aaron Rodgers money, but still, Zach Wilson, and I know it wasn't, I mean, it's not his fault because he was not expected to play. It was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers' show. Zach Wilson is going to basically, and this offense as a whole is going to single-handedly cost this team a playoff spot because the New York Jets, despite being constantly put in bad situations by their offense, are still a top 10 defense in the NFL. If Aaron Rodgers was on this team, I think that they would be at probably 6-2 or something like that. And to be honest, if you look at, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, or it would even behoove him or the Jets, because I think after they lose at the Raiders and they lose at the Buffalo Bills, they will basically be not mathematically eliminated, but they will have no shot. That's two tough road games, especially with the resurgent Raiders, who are on the high of... They're on the high of playing without Josh McDaniels. Imagine this. How many times do you think that Max Crosby hit Zach Wilson in the next game? Over under 5.
I mean,
that's one of the worst offensive lines in football.
And that's why, again, that's why when you see Kayvon Thibodeau get 3 sacks, it's like, okay, yeah, impressive. You got 3 sacks, but at the same time, that offensive line is bad. They gave up, 6 sacks to the Chargers? It is what it is. If the Lions' defensive line faced that team, they'd have 5-6 sacks. It's just how it is. They're doing it to every single team. And if Aaron Rodgers comes back, which I don't believe is true, I think it's just cap. And you have the video, so we can you can react to it yourself.
When you coming back, man?
Yeah, that's the biggest bunch of BS I've ever heard in my life. You ain't coming back, Aaron Rodgers. Stay out. And even if you did come back, Aaron, you'd come back, re-injure it, and you'd go into retirement.
Yeah.
So if maybe he should. I don't know. I put a poll in the chat before the show. Should Aaron Rodgers return this season? Yes, I want to see the drama unfold. Or no, that man is too old. And it's 70%. Yes, I want to see the drama unfold. I'm here for drama. Like, if Aaron Rodgers returns, now I'm interested.
Well, yeah, the Jets are largely...
Not that it's going to happen, but now I'm interested.
I mean, the Jets without Aaron Rodgers, I mean, they've got some defensive players and of the like, and even some offensive skill position players that are worth watching. But if Zach Wilson is out there, he's not going to be able to get the best out of them. I mean, think about this. The people that have suffered the most are guys like Garrett Wilson or even Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. Those are the guys that have suffered the most. And I mean, even the defense. That's why them being top 10 is not created equal, because Zach Wilson is just constantly not being able to keep his offense on the field, putting the defense in more possessions and all of that. So this New York Jets team, their offense is going to cost their defense a playoff spot. That's just a fact.
And I think my theory on this is I think Aaron saying that keeps the defense locked in. Because, at least they're like, well, maybe he does come back. Because that's a Super Bowl defense.
Oh, yeah.
What they did to Justin Herbert is his only game this season. Justin Herbert hasn't had a passing touchdown. And he held him to under 150 yards.
Yeah.
That is absurd. That defense, and it's sad they're going to waste another year with that defense, but hey, who cares? You suck, Aaron. I just want to let you know that. All right, let's, in a little bit, we're going to have to break, and we'll get into some of the stuff that happened yesterday at Lions training camp Lions practice. You saw, Donovan Peoples-Jones out there. Nice to see him. You got his number, of course. Jameson Williams.
You could ever have. 19, baby.
Okay, that was your number, right? Okay, of course it was. Demont back. He's running right. He looks good, by the way. Demont, expected him to be back this week against the Chargers, and then we'll give you some practice updates. Some guys that practiced, some guys that did not, and much more. Of course, 8:30. I have an interesting question for the people, and it'll be a little fun, something a little different during the bye week. And the NFL tweeted this out. Who's your unsung hero for the Detroit Lions? And so think about that. 8:30. We'll answer that question. 8:45. We'll take a look at the playoffs. Look at some matchups. Confidence level in the matchups. I know me and Booner had this conversation about how far the Lions can go. What are our predictions on that? We'll kind of recap that because I already spoke about it before the season, but we'll get into it again and see if anyone's opinions change so far this season. 9 o'clock, we'll get into more of the Chargers-Lions matchup itself because, again, I want to ask the question, how tough are the Chargers? Like, especially watching them the last couple of games, they're 500. I mean, their back's against the wall at this point, and that's dangerous for any team. You're facing a team that cannot lose, and you got Justin Herbert coming off a stinker game at home. You expect him to bounce back, but it'll be a good test for the Lions over there on the West Coast. 9:16, we'll get into some NFL power rankings. We did ours yesterday. We'll react to 33rd team. Where do they have the Lions ranked? Some other teams as well. You know, anything we agree with, disagree with, so on and so forth. And of course, we'll have the usual What's Running with Lucas and mailbag. But let's go to break first, and when we come back, we'll get into the practice discussions as usual. But first, Sam, can you tell us about Lady Jane's?
Absolutely. Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, where I get my A+ haircuts from the A+ stylist for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams. And all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Right after I unplugged that, I head over to 5 Iron Golf because it's downtown's newest sports bar. I'll tell you what, they got 13 TrackMan simulators, certified instructors, and most importantly, a full bar and restaurant. Full 5 Iron Leagues are back. Compete nationwide. Of course, if you're in the league already, you have a chance to win a trip to the Dominican Republic. I'm not sure if they're already doing signups, but you missed your opportunity. But you can still head to 5 Iron Golf and play with some friends. It's a lot of fun. We go there with some of the people from Woodward Sports. We have a blast, man. I mean, they got the bar. Of course, they got great food. I like their chips and salsa. Very delicious. Of course, it is. It's pretty good. Use code Woodward10 for 30% off the league, of course. So that is 5irongolf.com to sign up. Welcome back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Let's get into it. It's time. Look at Sam. He's pumped up.
I am pumped
No
up.
flannels for Sam. He's locked in. It's a different Sam.
It's a different day.
He just walks differently. The mentality's different without the flannel.
His tone is different.
The tone is different. Everything's different about Sam. I love it. All right. Let's get into it, guys. Some things, updates at training camp, and I'll read them off. This is per Matt Broder, our Woodward Sports Detroit Lions beat reporter, and he kind of tweeted out some updates of guys who were going to be at practice, and there you go. Thanks, Lucas, for that. He says, all spotted at Lions practice today. Running back David Montgomery, center Frank Ragnow, and left guard Jonah Jackson. That's good news.
Hell yeah.
That's great news. Actually, you have an opportunity, and I tweeted this out about a week ago. After the bye week, Jared Goff is going to have a full complement of weapons and offensive line, which is something he has not had in weeks. So it's good for the offense, it's good for the Lions. You're going up against a defensive line that's got some dudes. I mean, Khalil Mack, who, Sam, you talked about yesterday, you think he's going to be all-pro. I think you're right about that. Khalil Mack's having a hell of a season. He had 6 sacks in one game against the Raiders. And then you got Joey Bosa, who just wrecks games on his own. So this is much needed. David's important because, again, he's the guy that's going to extend drives and be your bruiser and help out Jahmyr Gibbs. But I think the more important thing is getting this offensive line healthy, because, Sam, you've only seen this offensive line healthy for a handful of games before they started missing games. So it's good news. Great news. The bye week came at a perfect time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Is it? Am I just like inferring things, or does it seem like this offensive line is actually going to be completely intact? Is that what I'm reading into?
Yeah, I think Vitai's healthy at this point.
Yeah, but I don't even know if they're playing him.
No, Glasgow. Yeah, dude, he's balling.
Well, but I mean, we're going to get some more to Graham Glasgow later, trust me. But Graham Glasgow, Vaitai, you could plug any one of them, and they're both starting level guards in the NFL. That is for damn sure. And Graham Glasgow has actually had a better season when he has played. But again, more on him later. I'm looking at this combination with David Montgomery, Frank Ragnow, and Jonah Jackson. And also, you've got Montgomery and Gibbs back and healthy playing together. I wonder, with everyone back on the offensive line and the running game intact, and you even got weapons, like Jared Goff is going to have his full complement of weapons, what this offense can actually look like.
Yep.
I mean, you've seen, and I'll just start with the running game. You saw what Jahmyr Gibbs did against the Raiders. You saw what David Montgomery did in a couple of games when he was healthy, particularly the Panther game and the Packer game. This is looking like if this offense can use the running game correctly, can have them both get their proper amount of usage, can even be on the field at the same time behind this offensive line, could this actually be the best running back duo in the NFL moving forward? Because think about this, and I know I might be missing some, but one of the ones we thought about coming into the year was the Jets, but Dalvin Cook has not had a good year. You talked about the Atlanta Falcons, but Tyler Algier is only averaging 3.2 yards per carry, and Bijan Robinson famously isn't probably getting the usage that he probably should. So I'm looking at this Lions running game and thinking that it can be one of the best in the league moving forward, if not the best. I'm dead serious.
Especially behind this offensive line.
And it's funny because a while ago, before the season started, we have a YouTube video still out on Woodward, and the video is called "Do the Lions Have a Top 5 Backfield?" And I actually made the case that Jahmyr Gibbs and David are a top 5 backfield in the NFL. Now, it was before the season, and I think at this point, Sam, I agree with you. Yep. As a duo, because I think when people hear that, they're like, David, there's so many great backs in the league. No, you're talking as a duo, and now you're seeing Jahmyr Gibbs, so I'm with you there. Some of the people commenting, too, I want to read this one. Curtis says Dan wanted the O-line tested for the down the season, arrested, for the stretch down the season, which I agree. And Curtis also says, I think Dan rested those guys for a reason, minus Monty. And I think that's true, too. Like, I think Frank could have played last week, but they were like, you know what? Rest him. I mean, they should beat the Raiders anyway, and they did that. The other news, too, about this whole thing, and quickly about Jahmyr Gibbs, now that he's back, I don't expect his usage to significantly increase for what he was used by, when David was here. But I do expect him to be more utilized in the passing game, though. Like, I keep saying that, but even with David back, you could give David his 15 to 20 carries. You can give Jahmyr his 8 to 10, whatever it is. But I do expect, again, another 6 to 8 targets in the passing. Like, he's too much of a weapon not to get those targets, even with David back. So that's big time. Now, some of the other things you got to see at training camp, Donovan Peoples-Jones is out there running routes. And we got the video as well, Lucas. You could play that because this guy looks good in the Lions uniform. I'm telling you. And I think he's going to be a big impact. There he is, 19 out there running routes. And you could just tell, dude, he's, and pause on this, but he's a big guy. Mm-hmm. And that's why third down receiver, you talk about his ability to stretch the field, but Marvin Jones, what you lost in Marvin, 6'2", guy you could rely on third down. I think Donovan's going to be that too. And for all the people that are like, what does this mean for Jameson? I don't think it means as much as people think it means. I think Donovan's just another option out there in case there's injuries or, like I said, on third down. He could do so much, Lucas, and you can speak more on this, obviously, but there's a lot of things he brings to this football team that they need.
Yeah, I think he's really just like a mini Marv. Like, everything that they wanted out of Marvin Jones going into this year, you're going to get that. And the fact that he's 24 years old, his ceiling with this franchise, especially since he's a Detroit native, he went to Caz Tech, I don't know if there's much more of a dream destination for him, the fact that the Lions are a winner now. And I think, like you said, I don't think at first they're going to use him as a JMO replacement. I think this is a depth move. They're like, all right, lost Marv. We really want more out of like that depth position. I know we see Antoine Green out there, but you'd like to have a little bit more of a veteran presence. But the thing is, with Donovan Peoples-Jones, he runs like a 4-4. He's a punt returner, kick returner. He can stretch the field. He has reliable hands. I'm not calling for it, but let's say these JMO struggles continue to happen. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I don't think they'll hesitate to put him at that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 spot with Amon-Ra and Josh Reynolds. I really don't think they will. The guy's a stud, like as far as talent, and you're stuck in Cleveland in quarterback hell, not to mention that weather right off of Lake Erie. Like, it's hard to produce in Cleveland as a vertical wide receiver. I mean, slot receivers like Jarvis Landry can produce, but consistently in Cleveland, that's hard to do. So the sky's the limit for him, really.
Yeah, and JD, I agree with this comment too. And I think Easy mentioned this in our group chat like a little bit ago, and I was like, damn, that's spot on. JD says, or Chark made some key catches for us last year. He kind of does feel a little bit of that Chark role. Not like the same exact player, but you got another big body guy.
He's better than Chark. Donovan Peoples-Jones, if you give him consistent shots, I can promise he's better after the catch. He's a bigger wide receiver. He's better at blocking, and he can stretch the field just the same as Chark, if not better. Chark is a little bit faster, but when you're really talking about it, like, Donovan Peoples-Jones is just as good as Chark, if not a little bit better. He's still younger, too.
Yeah, Paul Thomas, love it. Peoples-Jones, trust thy homes. Yeah. And for a 6th-round pick, Sam, I mean, you could talk all about it.
2025 6th-round pick.
It's not even the draft that's in Detroit. Yeah. It's the following year. But Sam, and he is a Michigan alum.
Good Michigan man.
Good Michigan man.
Made a huge play at Michigan State in 2018 to break open a 7-7 tie.
He did. Michigan man. And Funky also chiming in. He says DPJ is an X, JMO is a Z. They don't affect each other. That's spot on.
To a point.
That's a little cold.
Because here's the thing: when you say things like that, like if you're gonna say he's a Z wide receiver, so is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown will play the X and the Z.
Yeah.
You can put Donovan Peoples-Jones on the outside with Josh Reynolds on the outside. There's your 2 wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot, and you have Sam Laporta. Like, those could be your 3 wide receivers at a time. They're different positions, quote unquote, as far as the prototypes, but they do the same thing. So when you talk about like that could very easily be taking. Marvin was going into JMO snaps. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing I noticed with this offense, Lucas, is they have a lot of guys that can play different positions, like like they can line up all around the field, and that's actually a benefit for Ben. He can just cook, move these guys around. But Sam, Donovan Peoples, we know what happened this year in Cleveland. He's not in the rotation. You got him for a 6th-round pick, but this is a guy last year without really a quarterback in his career. He's coming off 800-plus yards.
Yeah.
And he's gotten better every single season. Like, you can't discount that. He's not old. He's still productive. And I think he can contribute to this team right now.
Well, I got to be honest, when the whole Donovan Peoples-Jones news broke, I think we were all a little bit, I would say, not all of us, because there were some that were 100% okay with it, but a lot of us, including, I would say, I'll say me, you, Jeff, and you, Lucas, because we talked about it, we even talked about it on air, we're a little bit disappointed that they didn't nab a corner or an edge rusher or somebody like that. So the Donovan Peoples-Jones stuff, yeah, I was a little bit sulky about all of that. And I kind of made a crack at how he has 97 receiving yards this year in 7 games. But here's the reality of the situation. Here's where I think he can actually improve in Detroit. And this can be a much better situation for him, because I have to look at this fairly. 1, Cleveland does not use their receivers outside of Amari Cooper. When you look at Donovan Peoples-Jones was actually their 3rd most productive wide receiver this season after Amari Cooper, spacebar, Elijah Moore, and then Donovan Peoples-Jones. They just never really got him involved. And a lot of this season, as you said, Lucas, they were in quarterback hell. Dorian Thompson-Robinson started a game and looked absolutely awful. PJ Walker started a couple games, and even though they won a couple, he looked absolutely awful. Deshaun Watson still looks like he still stinks. Even though they're winning games because of that defense, and that defense alone, not because of their quarterback play. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, he has an opportunity to come into this offense and really, really produce. I really think he adds an element that they need. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar or anything like that,
right.
But outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown and I would say Josh Reynolds, there's some question marks with this wide receiver core. I know that Sam Laporta is one of the best tight ends in the league, and he's going to take a lot of the targets. You'd expect Jahmyr Gibbs to get a lot of targets moving forward, or at least you'd hope. But Donovan Peoples-Jones has a flair for the big play, and just 1 year ago, he had over 800 receiving yards. He didn't just lose it all. Mm-hmm. He was just in a bad situation. Would I have liked to see him produce more than he did in Cleveland? Sure, but I think it's all set up for him to at least succeed to some degree in Detroit. And just another thing, which I think was very nice, it was a very well-timed bye week. They signed him and he had some extra time to get ready and learn the offense.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think he might contribute right away. I'm not calling for him to have 50 yards receiving or anything like that his first game here, but he's going to contribute to this team.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they needed a dude that is a big playmaker, like someone that can stretch the field. I mean, Amon Ra is a guy that can kind of do it all. He wanted to improve, at least vertically, and he's done that. His yards per reception's increased. But Josh Reynolds, a guy that can make plays, but what they really missed, and one guy that you gave me crap for it, was the Chark and the Marvin Jones replacement. I'm like, I just don't think he's got the juice like Chark has. I think DPJ does. Like, I think he brings the juice. Like, I will not argue about that. And Khalif is the other guy that can, but Khalif's more of a smaller, quicker guy. He can get free for a play, and they could draw something up for him. But DPJ's got the speed, but he's much bigger and stronger.
Yeah,
so
and
it's a great
durable
fit.
too. DJ Chark, you'd have to worry about getting hurt every 4 games, and you're like, DPJ. I can't recall him ever really having injury history in the NFL.
Yeah.
Let me.
And
I actually have it pulled up right now. Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, he played all 17 last year. He played 14 in 2021 and 12 in 2020. So I mean, definitely less. In this year, he's played in 7 games, even though he wasn't super productive. I mean, you talk about DJ Chark. He damn near missed a whole season, and he missed, I believe, was it 5 or 6 games in his 1 year with the Lions? It's a concern with him.
And you notice, and this is a good thing about this system, is when Chark left and he's in Carolina, he's unhappy because he's not getting the same type of touches and he's not getting the same type of production. Understanding, I check his stories every once in a while. I follow DJ Chark. He'll put a little sad emoji on a black screen. I see what he's doing. He don't like where he's at, but he got his pay. So you chose this route. It is what it is. Phil says probably very happy to be out of that hellhole in Cleveland. Not the team, but the place. Even Braylon wanted out of there. John Miller says DPJ going to pop off with the Lions. I don't think he'll play this week though. Is it too early?
If they didn't have a bye week, I'd be like, yeah, probably not. But the fact that they had a bye week, he might. I could see him at least being. I could see him taking
plays.
Khalif's kick returner spot too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe have him like that. I don't know though, because Khalif is still a great returner. Like, I'm not saying Khalif's a bad returner. Maybe they just want to save him for a risk of injury's sake, but I'm not sure.
What do you think, JB? DPJ, man. What do you think of him? What kind of impact do you think he'll make?
I mean, I would obviously temper my expectations, but I think it's a good fit. I think with the bye as well, too, it helps out a little bit. He'll be out there, but he's not going to get a ton of volume of plays right now. I would just tell everyone to temper their expectations for him as of starting, but
yeah,
for right now, like he'll be serviceable. He'll, as you guys said, fill the DJ Chark role or the Marvin Jones role. At least go out there and catch 4 to 5 catches at least. What I'm thinking.
Yeah, Sir James says DPJ is no TK85.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? Is he still on the roster? I know he was called up.
I don't even think he got signed. No, it was a workout. He got a workout, but nothing afterwards.
Man,
he'll be back.
Isn't that funny?
Speakeasy says, if I send a super chat, can Jeff make a turkey noise for Thanksgiving? No. That is not. Nope, that is not an option.
For a super chat.
Come on.
No turkey noise, even for a that's tough. I don't know about that one. Let's see here. Chuck says Sam is relieved. Probably about that TK85 comment.
Did you want those other videos from camp?
Yeah, you got them?
Yeah, D-Mon and J-Mo?
Yeah, you got them?
Yeah.
All right, play them. This is, we'll see both of them. This is D-Mon. He looks good, by the way, man.
Yeah.
Look at him. I mean, there you go.
Fresh.
He does. He looks fresh. J-Mo was out there as well, running routes. He looked crisp. Didn't drop the football. Had to note that. That's very important. He looked good out there. I know it's practice. But still, it's nice to see these guys out there, man, getting work. And I think majority of the roster, if not all of them, were healthy. So they're all out there working. There's J-Mo. There you go. And again, does this mean anything for J-Mo? We'll see. I know it's hard because J-Mo has to still earn the trust, dude. Like, he has to earn that. And partially, people talk about, is it Ben? Is it J-Mo? I get all of that. I think there's plenty to blame to go around. I think J-Mo needs to step up, but we'll see. This Chargers passing defense is the worst in the NFL. They give up one of the most yards. I don't know if they're last or one of the last teams, the worst teams in the NFL. So this is a good opportunity for the passing game to get on track too. Yeah. So if there's a game to get J-Mo involved or DPJ to get some reps and be productive, or Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra, Josh Reynolds to be productive. It's this game. No, it is.
And the funny thing is, and I know that it means absolutely nothing, but Zach Wilson statistically didn't even have a terrible game.
No.
Besides for his yards per attempt. And he didn't turn the football over. And I'm not saying that means anything, but statistically, Zach Wilson had one of his more efficient games of the year against this Chargers defense. So this is a game in which I think the Lions offense, which is still one of the best in the league, can take advantage. And that's a great point by you. And maybe this is the week to unleash J-Mo. And to be fair, I was about to say I keep hearing that every week. But to be fair, the Tampa Bay game, I will never take that away from him.
That's very fair.
I'll never take that away
Very
from him.
fair, Flannel.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, I should say, what would we call it? A striped shirt? I don't know if you'd call it a striped shirt today. Can't call him flannel.
You can.
looking very dapper.
Thank you.
That's like a half and half.
Yeah.
An Arnold Palmer shirt.
Yeah, there you go. The one and only Corbin Chargers are last in passing yards per game. Thank you, Corbin, by the way. So there you go. There's the correction. They are last. So that's what matters. Chuck says, Jeff, show us your inner turkey. Chuck, I didn't like how that sounds. But Chuck, I respect you, though. Terrence says, JB is the hat goat. Any comment on that, JB?
There's no debate
I
with that.
appreciate that.
I think that's fair. And he's the merch goat. He always
merch
has new
goat, too,
merch
yeah.
on every single day. So I don't know what's going on.
Got support.
Yep, that is fair. Let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll answer that question: who is the unsung hero for the Detroit Lions? And I thought about this a lot. Last night I was like, who is the unsung hero? Get your answers ready, and then I'll give mine, and we'll go around the room and give ours as well. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Dispo. Tell us about them, Sam.
Absolutely. Experience Dispo Romeo, a team that curates an exclusive atmosphere mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. The first ever cannabis mall of its kind is conveniently located off of Van Dyke and 32 Mile Road in Romeo. Dispo Romeo is now open late night until midnight every day except Sunday. Can it get any better than that? Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key.
Wow.
Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time?
I would.
For any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White & Associates offers. It's called the Minute-by-Minute Listing Agreement by Mark White & Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
Welcome back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the show. If you do me a favor, hit the like button on the stream. It's much appreciated. It does help the algorithm of the stream, helps the network, helps the show. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very
I
much.
want to answer this question. The NFL tweeted this on their official Twitter. Halfway through the season, who's your team's unsung hero? And I thought this was interesting. We'll flip this on the Detroit Lions, and we'll ask Lions fans, and we'll ask everybody in the room, who's your unsung hero for the team? And I'll go last because...
Okay.
I thought a lot about this, but Sam, who's your unsung hero halfway through the season for the Lions?
Well, I kind of teased him early on in I believe the first or the second segment. I'm going to go with Graham Glasgow. He is the unsung hero of this team. Did I steal it?
It's okay. Go on.
All right.
It's okay. Go on. You're good. You're good.
You should have went went first yourself because I had a backup. I hope you do too. All right, okay. Graham Glasgow. So here's why he has been so valuable to this team. Because first of all, this is an offensive line that has not been completely healthy this whole year. I mean, you've had Jonah Jackson miss games. You've had Vaitai miss, I believe, the majority of the season. You had Frank Ragnow missing some time. And here's what that has led. Graham Glasgow has played 75 snaps at left guard, 86 at center, and 294 at right guard. And honestly, when you look at Graham Glasgow, he was one of those signings in the offseason that was a little bit under the radar, but without him, with just a regular old backup guard, like even a Dan Skipper or somebody like that, this offensive line would not run how it has run this year. It's pretty much, I wouldn't say it hasn't missed a beat at all, but it's still been one of the top offensive lines in the NFL. And not only that, because Graham Glasgow has played his vast majority of snaps at guard, he is the 5th highest ranked guard in the entire NFL according to PFF. Do you know who he is ranked higher than? Listen to these names: Zach Martin, Joe Tooney, Wyatt Teller, Landon Dickerson, Joel Bitonio, Brandon Sheriff, Quentin Nelson, Jonah Jackson, and Vaitai, by the way. He has a higher PFF grade at his position than Taylor Decker has at his. Frank Ragnow's PFF grade is 77.5. Glasgow's is 77.1. My point is that you have a high-level starting guard in the league as your backup, and you've needed every single bit of his production. And here's the thing. Frank Ragnow, I think we would all agree, is... You could argue, I don't know if you'd win this argument, but definitely one of the most important players on this offense, without a shadow of a doubt. But when he went down, I'm not saying that Graham Glasgow filled it seamlessly. I think he's been better at guard than he has at center, but still, he has... A backup center is hard to find, and Graham Glasgow is somebody who can play that position serviceably. And we've all talked about before the season, a lot of teams in the NFL struggle with offensive line depth. The Lions... They do to some extent, but when you have 6, I would say, high-level starting offensive linemen on your roster, it makes everything run so smooth, and they've been able to withstand so much. And that's why I have to say my unsung hero for the Lions is Graham Glasgow.
Well, you know what? Let me just take this. Throw it out. All right. No, I'm just kidding. No, the other part of it too, and just to add to his point, because it's a great one, by the way, and you damn PFF stats, I had them written down as well. But you're spot on. You're spot on though, Sam. And I want to add to that because the man's making $2.75 million.
Brad Holmes.
Think about that. And he's played, like Sam said, 3 different positions on the offensive line. He's been one of your more productive players. So, for that, he deserves a lot of credit as well. I will say this, the second option I have, and I got to go with the guy that I've, done a lot of homework on, and we kind of made a video about him earlier in the season, is Cam Sutton. CB1. And this man so far, you talk about a guy you signed after having the worst secondary in the NFL last year. He comes in as a pro, as a guy that, is slept on in the league, who slept on last year and what he did with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you talk about what he's doing in Detroit right now. And you talk about his last year having a career year with the Steelers till now. Last year with the Steelers, it was a 47.9 completion percentage he allowed. With Detroit, 55.3%. He's been, again, Mr. Reliable. And you could look at that Ravens game and Lamar Jackson torched you, but that's more than just Cam Sutton. The whole defense got torched. The whole team played like trash. But besides that, Cam Sutton has been a guy that you don't hear a lot about. And I'll tell you one thing. That's exactly what you want from your number one cornerback. Like, it's good when you don't have to talk about him. We talked a lot about our corners last year, didn't we, Lions fans? And this year, you haven't really heard a lot about Cam Sutton, and he really is. He's been incredible. And for a secondary, like I said, your number one corner last year was Jeff Okudah. And you can make an argument, honestly, for Jerry as well. Both those guys have been unsung heroes for the Lions and have been incredible for the secondary. But again, Graham Glasgow is a great one, Sam. I'll go with Cam Sutton, Lucas.
I'm going on the other side of the ball, at least Flannel went with Glasgow, but I'm going with Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds, in my opinion, has stepped up in such a big way. Amon-Ra St. Brown is obviously the focal point of this receiving corps, but every time Josh Reynolds catches the ball, he's making the other team pay. It's a first down or a touchdown. You talk about against Carolina when there's no Amon-Ra St. Brown and the offense still put up 42 points. Now the running game was obviously doing their thing. David Montgomery had a big game. But Josh Reynolds has just been so consistent. I don't think him and Goff's chemistry has looked better than what it is, and I don't think it's going to stop. He had an off week last week. I think he had one catch for like 12, 13 yards. I think he's going to bounce back against this Chargers defense. I just think in the playoffs, when you're going up against veteran teams and know what they're doing, you're going to have a veteran wide receiver on the outside who's been able to produce, and he's going to keep doing so. I don't think there's any reason for concern, and Josh Reynolds has stepped up in a lot of big moments this year.
He's shocked me. And the only person who called that, and I'll give him credit, is Broder. Because Broder, we had him on early before the season, and he said, like, one guy that I think is going to produce more than people think or be a big part of this offense is Josh Reynolds without J-Mo. He was spot on. So credit to him. JB, you got anybody unsung hero for the Lions?
Well, Lucas kind of took mine.
Man, we're stealing each other's, man, today. It's okay. Anyone else you could think of?
I was going to go with Sam Laporta, but I honestly thought Lucas was going to take Sam Laporta. So
I think another good one is Tracy Walker.
Tracy Walker's
I was
a good one,
debating
too.
between him or Reynolds.
But dude, C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down. Everybody cried, including me. And then you have a guy coming off an Achilles injury who just slid right into that secondary, and he hasn't really missed a beat.
Looked like he never missed a step and got right back to business. So you got to appreciate that, too. But Josh Reynolds for me, but Tracy Walker, as you said, is a good backup. So
yeah, he is. I mean, Tracy Walker, dude, he's number one. He's probably the best backup safety in the league, dude. Like, no one has a guy coming off the bench like Tracy Walker, who had 100 tackles last year.
He's killing
the year
dudes,
prior,
too.
excuse me. But he for real. And for him as well, for Tracy, I mean, he should have a couple picks this year, too. He dropped a couple of them. So, it is what it is. I'm going to go and read some of the people. Herb Nash is going with Anzalone, which I think is another unsung hero. That's a guy who got a lot of
I was going to go with him, but at this point, I don't even think it's unsung. He's just
a
outside
hero.
of Hutch, in my opinion, the best defensive player for the Lions.
R in the chat says Barnes. That's a good one. Eric Allen says Sewell. Yeah, Sewell, by the way, having a hell of a season. I don't know if he's unsung, though. He's just a hero, but still, he's having a hell of a season. Detroit Dabber 313 says Laporta is unsung, though. Let's see. Curtis says Camp Sutton. Let's see here. Some other people chiming in. A lot of people going with Tracy Walker. Chad Fisher says Branch. Branch is a good one. He's been even better than we thought. I mean, I thought he was the best safety coming out, but he's been like that dude day one. It's gonna be nice to have him back as well. Tyler says the biggest flop this year is Charles Harris. Yeah. I don't hate that.
He's up there.
I know people signed him to an extension at 7.5 sacks, but he has not been. I mean, he's had some inactives. That's not good.
Yeah, I would say, though, it goes a little bit deeper than Charles Harris. He's the most egregious one, but the opposite edge rusher besides Aiden Hutchinson, I think as a whole, and I know a lot of it, if James Houston were healthy, we might be having a different conversation, but that's part of it. And Charles Harris has... Let's just say this. I think his 2021 season was his anomaly. He's overall just not a good NFL football player, and I don't think that's unfair at this point. And John Kaminsky hasn't been terrible or anything, but he hasn't quite lived up to what he was last year.
Andrew says Riley Patterson back to having a kicker that isn't a total liability.
He's been fine.
Yeah, you know what? And I'll even admit that.
Jack Fox. I saw somebody comment Jack Fox. He deserves his flowers.
Yeah, he does. Andrew says Craig Reynolds. That's a good one. Chris says McNeil is here as well. I think McNeil...
Another one, though. He's just a hero.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like unsung versus... Like Aleem's just having a great year, man. He really is. I see Big Con 51 says Jerry all day. Austin says Jerry Jacobs. I saw another comment, too, saying it's got to be Jerry Jacobs. And I think Jerry Jacobs is a good one as well. I mean, you could go with either corner. That's kind of where I was going with it. I'm like, could you go with Jerry? Because he was more slept on this year. People just expected him to kind of hold it down until Mosley got back. But no, he's your second corner. He's a guy that they've been putting on some of the best wide receivers. It is what it is against DK Metcalf. But overall, though, Jerry's been solid. He really has. Chad says nuts, not a single mention of Hutch.
He's just a hero.
Yeah,
just a
unsung
hero.
guys, like unsung meaning someone that gets slept on. Like Hutch is that dude. Like no one's sleeping on Hutch. But I get what you're saying. You want more credit to him, but no, I don't think he's unsung hero. Greg says Dre Bly.
It's a good one.
I saw Hank Fraley too earlier. Hank Fraley, Dre Bly, those are good. Those are good options as well. I can't even lie there. Let's see. Herb Nash says Max Crosby. Oh wait, didn't trade for him.
Well, he definitely isn't an unsung anything. He's just
hold on. We're done with that. All right, we're done with that. But that was funny. I can't lie. But he is just a hero. He's not unsung. Yeah. insert the Kawhi laugh. Steven says, how about Derek Barnes? No one's talking about him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll agree with that because people kind of wrote off Derek. I'm not gonna lie to you. They drafted Jack Campbell. You have Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez. Like everyone everyone was hyping him up, which, they're all solid players, but Derek Barnes has been he's been making an impact on a consistent basis.
Derek Barnes, I'm not going to kill you for that one because he has been a starter this year, which he struggled to do consistently to start off his career, which he has made that improvement. Good for him. But the guys that we mentioned, Graham Glasgow, when he has played, he has not only been good, he's been a Pro Bowl level guard. I mean, you look at Cam Sutton. I'm not saying he's going to make the Pro Bowl, but with all the injuries in the secondary, Cam Sutton has been the stabilizing force, and he's played like a cornerback one. And Josh Reynolds, another one. Josh Reynolds, he has, that was you, Lucas. That wasn't JB. Josh Reynolds, he is
stuck at JB.
He has been their number 2 wide receiver. If it wasn't for that last game against the Raiders, in which he caught one pass, in which he fumbled, which was his one kind of blemish on the season, he has been, I wouldn't say an elite wide receiver, but he's stepped into that role as the number 2 and been just fine.
More production than Calvin Ridley.
At this point, yeah. So, and like I said, Derek Barnes, nothing wrong with Derek Barnes as your pick. It's just I think all of those guys have been better while also being similarly as unsung, at least what they were going to do coming into the year, maybe besides Cam Sutton.
Yeah, and Broder just commented too, and this one's funny. Kadarius Toney, unsung hero. Yeah, he was a big.
Absolutely.
He was a big reason
that is a great one.
That they won that game in Kansas City. I will not.
Worst game a wide receiver's ever played.
Yeah. Shout out to Kadarius Toney. All right, let's go to break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the NFC playoffs.
Real
How
quick,
does it look?
Shout out Easy. He just fixed our furnace. We've been without a furnace for like 4 days, man. It's been cold as fucking shit in that house.
Shout out to Easy, man. He's in the trenches?
He's in the trenches. He was committed to the cause, too, like 4 or 5 times a day. He's like, I'm going to try to fix the furnace. It wouldn't happen, but he was relentless. He showed grit. That's Campbell grit to turn that furnace on. Gave us heat for the night.
Man, Easy. You know what, Easy? You're our unsung hero. That's what I think. What a goat. All right, let's go to break here. When we come back, like I said, we'll talk about the NFC playoffs. We'll look at some matchups, who the Lions will face, all that and much more. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Guardian Alarm.
Absolutely.
Another unsung hero.
Oh, very, very unsung, or maybe just a hero. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Fairway Packing, because for over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and, of course, dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods, or for grab-and-go steaks, order online at fairwaypacking.com.
Get your meats.
Get your meats. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network, talking more of the NFC playoffs, some matchups that you could be seeing here. And I want to get this graphic for you, Lucas, PFF put out. I don't know if you have it, but I'll send it to you in a little bit. It's who the Lions would face if the playoffs were to start today. And I'll get that in a second. But still, how the playoffs shake up right now, and it's always fun to look at it. Obviously, the number one seed would be the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and they'd have the bye week, of course. And we'll see how that trends. They got a tough schedule coming up. But as of right now, the number one seed. Number two, of course, the Detroit Lions, even after a bye week, it was nice for the Dallas Cowboys to get that L. Even though, Philly was the one we really wanted to get that L. But regardless, it was a win-win situation because one team's getting knocked down even further. Number 3 right now, the San Francisco 49ers, they stand pat. They're 5-3. And then you have the New Orleans Saints who are creeping up. They're 5-4. Yeah. Which, you know what? Give me that matchup.
Shout out Taysom Hill.
Give me that. We want Taysom Hill. That would be a great matchup for the Lions. And then there's the Seattle Seahawks, who are 5-3, coming off that loss to Baltimore. And then, of course, you have Dallas at 5-3. And then you have the Josh Dobbs-led Vikings now at 5-4, above 500. And the reason why this is interesting is you look at some of the matchups. If the playoffs were to start today, the Lions would take on the Minnesota Vikings with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
Dog.
Dog. Yeah.
Don't sleep on him.
Yeah, let's all be scared.
What though? That's the thing what me and Booter talk about a lot is, what do you think? How far can the Lions go? And I love having that discussion because it's a lot of fun. The reason why I always say that a playoff win was my expectation from the start this year, and I stand pat with that, Sam, because Minnesota at Ford Field, give me that. That's a winnable game. Now, what happens after that? You could get, 49ers. You could get, the Dallas Cowboys. And that matchup now becomes a little more even. It becomes a little more like the Seattle Seahawks you could get as well. Now we're talking, especially they visit Ford Field, which, again, favors the Lions. Much tougher matchups. But, again, I think that Minnesota Vikings team, even led by Josh Dobbs, you got fans shaving their eyebrows. Give me the Lions. I like the matchup, and I think the playoff hopes, when everyone talked about a playoff win, they're still alive. They're going to win that playoff game. I still believe that.
Yeah, I mean, as much as, and I gave them credit for that signing because it definitely worked in game 1. The Minnesota Vikings, if they think, and I said this before, if their goal is to salvage their season, getting Josh Dobbs was a good move, and they won that game in large part because of Josh Dobbs, because he was their hero, especially on that final drive, in which it was, the highlight of it was them basically getting out of 4th and 7 pressure and running for a first down and then throwing that game-winning touchdown pass to, I believe, Brandon Powell. That was huge. That was a very, very huge moment for the Vikings. But the reality is if the Lions play the Vikings in the first round of the playoffs, I would feel the utmost confidence that the Lions would go in and win that game because they're still not going to be the same team, the Vikings, without Kirk Cousins. I think their running game is going to suffer without Alexander Mattison as opposed to Dalvin Cook. Alexander Mattison has, I guess, looked a little bit better lately, but we shall see.
Do they still have one of the worst? I think they have one of the worst run games in the NFL.
They 100% do.
Against one of the best run defenses.
Well, and the thing is, Justin Jefferson is also a question mark. I think he will be healthy enough to play by then, but the reality is the Lions at home against the Vikings, I think they would be a touchdown favorite at least. And if they were to lose that game, I think it would be a disaster. And even though the Vikings defense has played a lot better than I thought that they would, and I give them credit, I give Danielle Hunter credit, I give guys like Cameron Bynum credit who have stepped up, and I give Brian Flores a lot of credit, I still think it would be a massive advantage in a defense that the Lions could take advantage of. And a guy like Penei Sewell and even Taylor Decker could neutralize a Danielle Hunter. So I think it would be a good matchup for the Lions. The only thing I'd be concerned about is playing the same team 3 times.
Yeah, and I'm with you there, Sam. The question I have for everybody, and this is the question, is, of course we think they'll beat the Vikings, but is there any team on here you don't want to see in the second round? Because right now, I'll tell you one thing, even though it's at Ford Field, what puts me, I know the 49ers are the easy answer, because of course, the 49ers right now, even though they're the 3rd seed, we know they're much better. We'll see how it trends moving forward. But Seattle kind of puts me on edge a little bit. I don't know why. They just have the Lions' number. They do. And even if it's at Ford Field, they show them they can beat you at Ford Field. They just did it week 2. And it was a close game. I get it. It was a coin toss. And I would probably pick the Lions, but I'd still be watching that game like, damn. For some reason, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, even though I always make the argument that Jared's eons better, they find ways to beat the Lions at home. They do. So that would probably be the game that the team that I'm fearful of, besides the 49ers, of course. But there's any team on there that causes for concern, even at Ford Field?
Oh, it's 100% the Seahawks, because both, it's really funny, and I think last year it had a lot more credence than this season. Last season, in which the Seahawks beat the Lions 48-45, that was when we were just like, Aaron Glenn's got to go. And then this season, when the Seahawks put 37 on the Lions and beat them in overtime, although they benefited from a pick 6, it was another one where it was like, Aaron Glenn, we're not so sure about him. Shout out Easy, you've always defended the Glen, and you have proven to be right. But that's the thing. Sometimes a team just has another team's number. I would say that this Lions defense is much improved this year over last year, but it didn't look that way against the Seahawks. And the funny thing is, both of those games, and this is a West Coast team, were at Ford Field, and they basically got anything they wanted offensively for most of the game. They were opportunistic. I mean, the Seahawks forced a couple of bad turnovers by the Lions. To me, and I'm not scared, I'm not shaking in my boots or anything like that, I don't want to see the Seahawks in the first playoff game. I just don't. I'm not trying to be tough guy. I'm not trying to be like, we got to go through them. I want a playoff win at minimum. Let the tougher games come when they actually get one.
Trisha says, as long as we play a clean game, we can beat anybody. We gave the Seahawks 14 points. We beat ourselves. And that's, you know what, that's really well said.
That's the other thing, too. It's like the Lions are a legitimate team. To beat them at home 3 times in a row would be,
and Ford Field
in the NFL is damn near impossible. Especially like Geno, especially the last couple of weeks, is not looking like Geno Smith last year as far as with the accuracy and how efficient he was. He's looked kind of rough.
He's not the same guy.
I would rather see the Seahawks and the Cowboys. Just because of the fact that the Lions have played them so frequently, and it's been like that close every time. They're going to have the motivation. They're going to have the city behind them. I don't know. I just think Dallas, they could come up with a little bit more, especially defensively, problems for the Lions.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Especially Dallas, that last game, it frustrated. They beat themselves again last year against Dallas. They had 4 turnovers in that game. Jamal fumbled, I believe, at the goal line. It was just a weird game. This comment, too, Patrick says MCDC versus the Saints would be an interesting matchup.
That would be
Booner is chiming in. He says best case scenario would be the Cowboys win and the Saints win, and then you play the Saints in the second round at Ford Field. He is right. Because now, with new information, I can update my opinion. If you play the Saints in the second round, yeah, I'm confident you can get 2 playoff wins. Now we're talking NFC Championship.
Oh yeah, I mean that.
If that's how it goes, yeah.
The lay of the land.
The lay of the land, yeah. I don't care. Again, I don't give a damn who you face. Oh, people can say, well, the road to the NFC Championship was easy. I don't give a damn. Same thing I felt about the Chiefs, not having Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. That's not my problem. I just want a W, and you're getting that without facing the Saints. So Booner says there is a path, the Booner path. Okay. All right.
Well, there's always a path,
right,
and that's why. Well, I mean, but that's why you want to get as high of a seed as you possibly can to let the possibility of some upsets actually happening. I mean, there is a possibility, and I know this isn't a segment where we're talking about Super Bowls just yet, but there is a possibility in which the Lions can win the whole goddamn thing and not have to go to Philadelphia or San Francisco one time. That's possible.
It's very likely.
I would argue that you said it. You said it, Lucas. It's more likelier than you think, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got to, dude, and that's why the NFC is important. It's not win the NFC or bust, but man, if you win the NFC and the Eagles, even though the Eagles are a tough matchup. If you see the passer rating for Jalen Hurts when he's trailing, it's like the best in the NFL. They're a scary team. I'm not going to just sit here and not say that, but man, if they all got to come to Ford Field in the playoffs, and I think the Seattle game was a little taste of it because it was the home opener, so that place was rocking. But a playoff atmosphere, man, any team that have to come play in Ford Field is a problem. And
it's going to be the Super Bowl for Lions
dude,
fans. It's not going to be a playoff atmosphere. That's going to be the Lions Super Bowl. I mean, obviously they can move on, but
silent count all game.
Even for the offense, probably.
Yeah, dude. They don't understand what they're walking into. This city is starving. And even for a playoff matchup, I think, that home field advantage. And I made the argument based on how starved these fans are that I think Ford Field in the playoffs will be the toughest. Besides Philly, you can make a case for Arrowhead, the toughest place to play. Now, how the Lions play is up to them, but in terms of the environment, my God. You saw Monday night against the Raiders. It was the Raiders, and that place was insane.
Now, add C.J. Gardner-Johnson into it. It's going to be get the crowd even more involved.
I want it.
Let me
barbecue chicken alert.
Let me just pose this though. There's no guarantee that they would play them. Obviously, you don't know how the playoffs are gonna shape out. But the Seattle Seahawks, I know we're talking about Ford Field being a great home field advantage, which I think it will in the playoffs. I think those fans will be just insane in a good way because us Lions fans deserve the right to be for a home playoff game because it's been so goddamn long, and it's literally never happened in Ford Field. But the Seattle Seahawks have shown over the last couple of years, I know the playoffs is a different animal, that they are not afraid to go into Ford Field and play well. The silent count, which they probably had to use a lot in the first game against the Lions this year, in a home opener with the Lions having the biggest expectations they've had certainly in my lifetime, it didn't bother them one bit. So I would expect that there are some teams that would just wilt at the atmosphere of Ford Field. I don't think you can count on that from the Seahawks. You'd have to actually beat them and play a good, clean game, which they're capable of doing, but they didn't do that in week 2.
This comment, John Lord, Browns versus Lions would be insane in the Super Bowl. My gosh. And you have Donovan Peoples-Jones revenge game.
Jim Schwartz revenge game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. You know what? Yeah.
He's such a good defensive coordinator.
He is.
Yeah, that's the old Jim Shorts, man. He's built different. He really is. Defensively, he is. Let's see. What do people talk about a wet blanket? I don't understand.
Am I a wet blanket? Did you hear how much I hyped up Graham Glasgow? Come on.
Yeah, you're giving him love. Herb Nash says the least watched Super Bowl ever.
That might be the most watched.
Yeah.
People are like, what the fuck is going on in Vegas too? You know how many bets would be going down on that game? Like more than any Super Bowl ever.
Yeah, that's unreal. Let's see here. Eduardo says Seattle comes to us next year. We could face them again next year. Yeah, and the whole thing with Seattle, I'm with you guys. Even though I'm a little on edge with it, there is something about it's hard to beat a team 3 times. There is truth in that.
Like imagine,
especially the teams, they're so even.
Exactly. Like imagine, let's say even we're in the Super Bowl, and we're making a figurative conversation up, but let's just use this. The Chiefs are in the NFC. They're still out. Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, they're still not playing. How confident would you be about beating them twice? You know what I mean? Like you're
That's
like,
fair.
damn. So think about now beating a team that you're just basically parallel with, and you got to beat them 3 times. It's almost like, holy shit, can we do this again? I feel like all the pressure at that point is on the Seahawks because like you beat them. This is a game that you should win. You've done it twice now. Can you do it again? I don't think they'll be able to.
And the interesting part of that too is one of the only matchups, because there's a lot of quarterbacks that have playoff experience. Goff would have more experience. Like he'd favor Goff
infinitely more than Geno Smith.
Yeah, for terms of a playoff environment. Like he's done that. He's been there. So that's another bonus. But let's go to break here. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Chargers matchup itself. Just things that maybe present a problem, things that you want to look for, maybe some other storylines within the game. They play this Sunday on the West Coast, so it'll be a great game. Chargers, to me, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a easy win. I think it's one of the more tougher games on the schedule, despite what I think of Brandon Staley, despite what I think of that defense. But we'll talk about some concerns that we have when we come back from break. Get your guys' concerns ready. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy, because wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try their new Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, but if you want breakfast, they got that as well. The potato pancakes are back. The classic Lumberjack Santa Fe Garden. Also, the new apple pie hotcakes that are also too good to miss. Top it all off with the new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company, official equipment provider of Woodward Sports, Michigan-grown, family-owned. Bad Boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers. Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X-Plows, and Salters. Outdoor Equipment Co. has it all. Buy it, rent it at 0% financing, delivery to your doorstep. Just visit their website at OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Check them out.
Check them out. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I got to give an apology to Jesse in the chat, man. That's my bad. I didn't read Jesse's comment. Much love to you. He watches the Morning Woodward Show, so I got to give some love to him.
What'd he say?
I missed his comment. So and he watches all the time. So that's on me. Hey,
sending us bets all the time, trying to get us right.
Well, no, different Jesse.
Oh, not just Adams.
That's Jesse Adams. Got a lot of Jessies, but Jesse, I appreciate you. Just know that. All right, let's get to this matchup now for Sunday. Los Angeles Chargers, coached by Brandon Staley. Yeah, I said that. Coached by Brandon Staley. But new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, who's actually, I think Lucas Klotz might be honest. I think he might be the next head coach.
He's the second best offensive coordinator in the NFL behind Ben Johnson. Right now. Mind-wise, as far as who can be the next best head coach.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Maybe the enemy, but
I think I'd lean Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore is that dude. Former Detroit Lion.
Very true. Very true. And the other thing too, and a lot of coaches now are their offensive coordinators. So it's hey, you're all right. If we're just talking strictly offensive coordinator, yeah, Lucas, I'm with you. Let's get into it though. Anything that might cause for concern for the Chargers, and I'll start with this. And I kind of said this yesterday, but there's two things for me. But one of them is less of a concern now that guys are healthy. That defensive line for the Chargers, you're getting a healthy Lions offensive line. I'm a little less concerned, even though Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, who's the other guy, Thule?
Yeah, I can't even
say his name, but apparently the Monday Night Football crew was hyping him up.
He's had a sit. No, they're hyping him up for valid reasons. He's been a beast all year. He has been. I remember,
I was not informed of this game.
Playing the Chiefs the first time, he was causing issues.
I was not familiar with their
game.
Remember
the name, whatever it is. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Thule, my mistake. I'll remember Thule. But regardless, that defensive line is the only concern for me on the defense for the Chargers. And it's a good matchup. You got best on best. And I think, honestly, to this point, with how Panay's playing, Graham's playing, you got Frank back, Taylor Decker, I think to some extent, it favors the Lions. It's close. The other thing, and it has to be Justin Herbert. Because, and Keenan Allen, of course. But the secondary, you have Cam Sutton, talked about him earlier. You have Jerry Jacobs, two reliable corners that really for most of the season have not been disappointing. There's been games where the defense has been a little disappointing, but regardless, I think to some extent, Keenan's going to get his. You can't, the guy's too good. I think he just passed 10,000 yards. So we know what Keenan Allen brings. One of the best route runners in the NFL. But Justin Herbert is the concern for me. And I know Neil was hyping up Austin Eckler. Guys, Austin Eckler, and by the way, one of the best, you could argue the best, besides Christian McCaffrey, the best pass-catching back. But, as a running back, guys, he's getting 40 yards a game. He's not a dude that, Saquon Barkley, for example, is somebody that, puts fear in my eyes as a runner. Austin Eckler does not. I don't know. I don't think I'm alone on that. Austin Eckler, I think the Lions' defensive line will do just fine against him. Now, in the passing game, we'll see Eckler's a weapon. But for me, Sam, offensively, it's got to be Herbert. That's number one. We know how good he is, and he could pick apart any secondary, no matter how good it is. He had, over 200-300 yards against some pretty good defenses this year. But besides that, the offense, Keenan Allen, besides that, I think most of the matchups favor the Lions, if I'm being real with you.
All right, so I don't want to be a copycat or anything like that, but I think it speaks to me, it's pretty obvious. I'll go at it from a little bit of a different angle. Of course, I am worried about Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa because here's the reality. Both of those guys, when it's all said and done, are going to be wearing gold jackets in Canton. Certainly Khalil Mack. Come on, Khalil Mack.
I'm thinking about Joey Bosa.
Well, let me just say
that's where I go first too, man. Joey Bosa.
No, I'm saying as a Hall of Famer, I don't know if he is.
We'll see, though.
Okay,
what is he like?
Continue. Besides the point.
Khalil Mack has been a defensive player of the year in this league. He's had 4 double-digit sack seasons, and he's about to have a 5th. Even though he's not quite what he used to be, at least numbers and production-wise, he is having a very good year. And Joey Bosa, another guy, 4 double-digit sack seasons, about to have his 5th. They're both coming off of monster performances, albeit against the Jets, who have a diametrically worse offensive line than the Lions. But still, they're kind of on a heater. And I haven't even mentioned Thule Tui Apoloto, I believe that's his name. A rookie. I wouldn't say a rookie phenom, but he is definitely. It wouldn't shock me if he gets a few votes for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Like that is definitely a concern. But with the Lions, you just have to counteract that with Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker. And I think at least when it comes to Penei Sewell, I think he will be able to do a good job on either Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa. Taylor Decker, I think, is a little bit more vulnerable, but still, that is where if you can keep Jared Goff clean, if you can keep those guys away from him, I think he will play very, very well. And Justin Herbert, you mentioned it. I'll mention something else, and this is not taking anything away from what the Lions have done. But when you talk about elite quarterbacks that the Lions will have played or will play, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and then there is a huge gap. Those are the three. Those are the ones that you have to worry about. And I would argue that Justin Herbert, and this is just my opinion, I think he's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson, but I don't know if I can really make that. It's hard for me to make that argument. It's just what I think. I think he's very, very good, but he's also coming off of a game in which he was pressured a lot. He was sacked a lot. His offensive line isn't very good. I'm not saying that the Lions pass rush or the Lions defense is as good as the Jets, but Justin Herbert, you have to get pressure on him or else he will pick you apart. And let's do a little experiment too. I think it's kind of funny when we're looking at Justin Herbert. You've got Justin Herbert, and then the rest of the year, you've got either Justin Fields or Tyson Bagent twice. You have Jordan Love, you have Derek Carr, who I think is disappointed. You have Russell Wilson, and instead of Kirk Cousins, you get Josh Dobbs and then Dak Prescott. It's just... Justin Herbert is the last elite or borderline elite quarterback that the Lions will face this entire season. And he can cause problems. And Keenan Allen, he's still really, really good. Josh Palmer is good. Gerald Everett is really, really good. I'm not saying that Palmer and Everett are world beaters, but Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. And I think when you look at the Chargers, it's obvious. It's Justin Herbert, it's Bosa, it's Mack. That secondary has some big names, but they've played like ass all season as a whole. That's what the numbers say. It's Justin Herbert, it's Joey Bosa, it's Khalil Mack. Those are the guys that can wreck this game. And I don't think anybody else you really have to worry about that much.
Yeah, and to some of the comments too, because I want to read some of these. Because some of them are very true. Let's see. Trisha says it's homecoming for Goff. Keep him clean and all will be fine. That's the biggest thing. I think how this game will be dictated, Lucas, is in the trenches, meaning the pressure you get on Herbert and the pressure you give up to Goff. Like that's what this comes down to. If you could, we saw, and again, this Lions defensive line, although you're confident, they're not the Jets. The Jets wrecked that game versus Herbert, and that's the key to this thing, man. Getting pressure on Herbert. He's banged up already. But the other part of it, and I think this is, you look at the offensive lines the Lions have faced, like they haven't been that great. The Chiefs you bring up, I mean the Seattle Seahawks, that game they had 2 backup tackles. This Chargers offensive line, they're not world beaters, but Herbert's been sacked 20 times. Goff's been sacked 15, so they're not bad. They're a pretty good offensive line. And I think everything will be dictated in the trenches this game. It has to be.
I mean, they're a solid offensive line for sure, but they really haven't played that many stout defensive lines. But in my opinion, this game, if the Lions want to play Detroit Lions football, you're right, it's in the trenches, but it's with David Montgomery and it's with Jahmyr Gibbs. That's why I just don't see like people are like scared about this team on the road. I'm with you where it's like this Chargers team is talented and the Lions are probably going to lose one on the road eventually, but I don't see it being to this team. The Lions, when it comes to the Chargers, are a complete mismatch personnel-wise. The only thing that truly scares me is Keenan Allen on the outside. Yeah. Because we saw last week, again, you can't fault Cam Sutton because it wasn't a completed pass, but there was 2 plays when Devontae Adams could have had a 98-yard touchdown, and I don't remember how the second one, but it would have been another like 60, 50-yard touchdown.
And Herbert would have hit him.
Yeah, exactly. Herbert would have hit him, and Keenan Allen against man coverage, he's not as elite as Devontae, but Keenan Allen's one of the best route runners against press man coverage. He's going to be able to get open. So if we can limit Keenan Allen, I think that's fine because at the end of the day, Austin Eckler, I know Neil was like, he's one of the most underrated players. In my opinion, Austin Eckler is one of the most overrated superstars in the NFL as a running back goes. If they're checking it down to Austin Eckler all game, the Lions are going to win because that's the position you want to put him in. You want to put Herbert in the times where he's throwing 40-plus time a game. You know what the Lions are going to do on the opposite side of the ball? David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's no chance that this Chargers defense stops the Lions offense. All the Lions defense has to do is stop Herbert once or twice, and then that's the game, in my opinion. They got talent everywhere, but when they don't have a star, It's not like they have a bum, but it's a drop-off. Like, you go from Nick Bosa to Khalil Mack to Tillery on the inside. The linebacker core, you got Eric Kendricks, and I couldn't even name you the other two linebackers. Asante Samuels Jr. is solid, but then Michael Davis on the other side, bum. Derwin James, great safety. Do they still have Nazir Adderley?
Well, they don't have Tillery. He's on the. Remember they traded him.
Okay, so there we go. He's not even like this Chargers defense is just.
Derwin James though.
Derwin James is solid, but Derwin James even plays inconsistent, and it has everything to do with coaching.
I was gonna say
this team is just incredibly undercoached, and it's over talented for the production. But when you have a team that's, in my opinion, more talented than the Lions so far this season, better coaching, the Chargers are going from LA to New York and back to LA. And the Lions just had a bye. Like, I get it. Talented team, but let's calm down a little bit for the people that are just like, oh my God, this is the game that the Lions could lose a game on the road. I would be more worried about them losing in New Orleans just because it's a more physical team. Like, the Chargers are fucking soft. They're Charmin soft. Like, you get up 2 touchdowns on the Chargers, game. Because then you're just gonna be putting pressure. You're just gonna make the Chargers how they have to play.
And by the way, I'm so glad you brought that. And I brought that up yesterday. That's like the point that like no one really mentions is the traveling.
Yeah.
Like they gotta go. They go from LA all the way to New York, all the way back to LA. Herbert's banged up. There's a lot of things there. Flint says clip it. Yeah, clip they're soft. Which by the way, I get what you're saying. The Saints much more physical.
They're like, let's be honest. Like Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore. I'm much more worried about that defense, especially with David Onyemata. Dennis Allen's a good defensive coach. Brandon Staley's a fraud defensive coach. And it's one of those, like the Chargers and Saints both, it's like one week you see something else, the other week you see something else. It's just incredibly inconsistent team.
Sure, and I wanna clear something up. Actually, Josh Palmer is on the IR.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah, and
Quentin Johnston. We talked about it yesterday. Quentin Johnston.
Bro.
Soft as shit. That dude's 6'4", 6'5". He looks like Andre Johnson out there. And anytime, oh my God, Quentin Johnson. I'm not saying he's going to be a terrible player, but you could see from a mile away that dude is not a first-round wide receiver. He's 6'5", and he plays like he's 6'1".
Yeah.
And look at this. Anthony Tillery says, "Hey, Tillery, that's my cuz. Don't talk shit about him."
I was saying it's like, dude, it's a drop-off. I'm sorry.
He's just
respect to him. Thank God he got out of L.A.
I would say
he made it out.
Is it fair to say that the interior of the defensive line for the Chargers is weaker than their edge rushers?
Oh, yes.
And think about, okay, now insert Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow, Panay. Like, come on, guy. I'm not saying you, but like for everybody that's like freaking out, okay, I guess if the Lions go in there and sleepwalk, maybe it can be a game, but they're coming off a bye week where they're just prepping. They added Donovan Peoples-Jones. Like they're pushing for a number 1 seed. The Chargers just got their win in New York. Like they're probably feeling like a little shaky. They don't know their identity yet either.
This sounds like, and I said it, but this is like in the trenches. Like this is like the tackle on edges. Like this is a Decker, Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Graham. That offensive line is one of the more important parts of this game because if you talk about game wreckers, like Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa can do that.
Yeah.
They can do that. Even, and I know there's questions, and of course Khalil's a little older, but they still got it. And they can wreck games. So that's where my head goes. We'll see how it pans out, though. It's an interesting conversation. Let's see. Some people chiming in. Omar says Chargers inconsistent. No way they win 3 in a row. And you know what? He's not off base there, too. Brandon Katz says the Chargers' weakness was their pass defense, not their rush defense. Mack and Bosa are healthy now.
I mean, their pass defense is worse than their run defense, but their defense as a whole just isn't good.
Hey, shout out Samuel Lang, tight end. Donald Parham is 6. I was going to say the guy that I'm worried about, there's 2 of them. If the Chargers somehow win the game, it's going to be because of Josh Kelly and Donald Parham. When the Chargers are in game, it's because Josh Kelly's running between the tackles like no problem. Do you remember against Kansas City?
Yeah.
When he had that 52-yard touchdown run, and even in the beginning of the season.
And Parham's a red zone nightmare.
He's just like every time he catches the ball, it's a first down or a touchdown. It's like they're Josh Reynolds at the tight end position. So if those 2 guys do their thing, then maybe we'll be having a different conversation. But the Lions' run defense has showed up pretty much every week. I'm not worried about Josh Kelly going off against the Lions.
Donald Parham.
No, but look, hold on. Cat's mom's meatloaf pan says,
Jesus.
Says, how tall is Parham without kneecaps? He can't be 6'8", huh?
Dude, no, he's 6'8".
No, they're going to take those kneecaps. So he's probably about 6'5", 6'6". Still a mismatch,
Get a B2 bomber right to the kneecap.
Donald Parham.
Oh,
Get
that's
outta
funny.
here.
Jesse Adams says, I'm telling you boys, J-Mo's going to get a TD Sunday. He and the Lions. Remember when the Chargers made fun of him? Lions in the NFL schedule release. Lions didn't forget that. How did they make fun of J-Mo? I forgot about that.
I guarantee it was a suspension
It was a
thing.
gambling suspension thing.
Oh, yes, it was. Thank you for that. You know what? That's the storylines people don't talk about. I like that. Get J-Mo in the end zone. Let's go to break here. When we come back, we'll talk more about this 33rd team power rankings that they came out with. And we came out with ours yesterday. We showed ours. We'll see how it compares to the 33rd team. We'll kind of react to that and much more. But first, we got to hear about our friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Absolutely. Do you have football on the brain? Fall, of course you do. Fall rushes in college and professional football, and this year has been awesome. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Just in time for football.
There you go, JB.
Glorious Cannabis is dropping a brand new ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. It smells so good, it's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain named in honor of our Detroit football team. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, you are definitely missing out. It is so smooth. Find them at a Dispo dispensary near you for 25% off. Use code word Woodward and check them out online today at gloriouscanna.com.
Glorious, man. I mean, JB, him and the Glorious read, man, it's like peanut butter jelly. It really is.
Jordan and Pippen?
Yeah, Jordan
Classic
Pippen.
combo.
Yeah, the classic combo. There you go. All right, let's get back into it. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's get those likes up, man. We got a lot of viewers, and we appreciate every single one of you for tuning in, but we got to get the likes up. Shout out to Tyler for giving us
boots on the ground.
Yeah, he's got boots on the ground over there showing us some love. So shout out to you, Tyler. But let's get into it. Power rankings, 33rd team. They came out with their power ranking list. And, you guys will see where the Lions are ranked, but we'll kind of give where we disagree, where we agree. And I got a bone to pick with a team on here. And I want you guys to tell me if I'm out of line on this.
Okay.
Lucas, if you got it, you can pull it up. This power ranking list, by the way, it's by Ryan Reynolds, not the Ryan Reynolds.
What the fuck?
Just clarification, not the Ryan Reynolds. He doesn't know ball. This is a different Ryan Reynolds. But here's the ranking. Kind of similar. I mean, the first four teams are actually the first five are my exact five teams that I had yesterday, so I don't have a problem with that. Guys, why is Buffalo in the top 10?
What the fuck is Buffalo doing in there?
Buffalo has been, and by the way, people still think of Buffalo as the team that went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, and I get all of that. Josh Allen, although he's a turnover machine, we know typically on a year-to-year basis, he's incredible. I mean, he is. He's a turnover machine, but he's still incredible. He is. I'm not going to say he's trash.
He's a gunslinger.
He's a slinger. That's what he is. Like, he's good. He's takes big gambles. With that comes turnovers, but also with that comes big plays. I'll tell you one thing, though.
I'm a machine.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, John Fury. I don't think he's a machine. But regardless, he's a turnover machine. That is true. Is the Buffalo is their window over to win a Super Bowl?
No, absolutely not.
Like, I'm just asking.
Absolutely
I'm genuinely
not.
asking.
As long as they have Sean McDermott, yes.
You know what? That's he's not a bad coach.
He's not a great one.
Like,
That's true.
You need a great coach to go out there and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's proven time and time again he's not that.
And I don't think their offense can win a Super Bowl with how they they bail on the run quickly. Josh Allen is not only they're heavily reliant on Josh Allen, but he's basically their run game. They bail on James Cook pretty quickly. Shout out to FanDuel. I lost my bet because they bailed on the run easily. But regardless, it's not even that. I don't have a bias. Buffalo being a top 10 team at this point, they're 5-4. 5-4.
Here's why.
Sam, make a case for Buffalo why they're still that team.
Okay, they weren't in my top 10, but let's just think about this. It's not egregious to have Buffalo in the top 10 as long as they're at 10 or 9 or something like that. Are you really up in arms that someone ranked them above the Browns or the Seahawks or somebody like that? Because those are the only two. The absolute lowest you could have Buffalo is 12. It's not like they should be like 17 or something.
I just don't get. They're 5-4, and you look at their defensive line. Dudes everywhere. I mean, Gregory Rousseau, they got Von Miller. They got dudes all across their defensive line. They got Josh Allen, James Cook, decent offensive line. They got Diggs, Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis, right?
He's okay.
We were all sold Gabe Davis as a big playmaker, and then some games he just is nowhere to be found. I think the Buffalo window, because they just paid Josh Allen, with that comes complications, right? You got to lose somebody. I think their window, I don't know if it's completely closed, Sam, but I think it's closing pretty fast. I know you can make the case as long as you have a quarterback like Josh, your window's always open. But I think there's exceptions. Like Mahomes, I would agree with you. As long as you have Mahomes on your roster, you're a contender every single year. I believe that. But Allen, until that man gets a run game, and maybe it is Sean McDermott, that window's closing, dude. Like, there's a little bit of breeze coming in, but it's about to close, dude. That's what I believe.
I think so, too. I mean, when you look even at their secondary is what has kind of helped. When the Bills are elite, it's because they have an elite secondary. Tre'Davious White tore his Achilles again. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, shout out Micah Hyde 419. Those guys are both aging, and they're already on contracts. They're going to be in cap hell. They're going to have to try to go get another corner through the draft. It depends on what draft pick they have, but at the same time, it doesn't get away from the fact they need to move off of Sean McDermott. But letting Brian Dable go instead of Sean McDermott, I'm not saying Sean McDermott should have been let go, but they should have had some more damn awareness. Like, hey, Brian Dable is making Josh Allen a lot better quarterback. Are we sure that Sean McDermott can hold this up? And he couldn't. I think they need to switch a bunch of shit in the front office and kind of add another era of young talent. If they don't, like, what's their hope right now? Like, what do they have going for them outside of Josh Allen?
Well, that's the thing, too. And even to this comment, Phil says, what do you say? Let me just get this comment really quickly. I kind of lost it. But basically, he said, decent O-line, Jeff, name one of their offensive linemen without looking it up.
Deion Dawkins.
Yeah, Deion Dawkins, who actually, if you watch that game.
Osiris Torrance is having a good rookie year, too.
Yeah, Osiris, which I liked him coming out the draft, but Deion Dawkins went like toe-to-toe with Trey Hendrickson, and he was holding it down. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Deion Dawkins. But regardless, I don't know. The Buffalo Bills, I'm curious. And I picked them to win the division this year. I don't know. Like, they're in a tricky spot right now. And until they fully trust and give Josh Allen a run game besides himself, that man's going to get hurt. And that's my concern. Maybe it is Sean McDermott. Maybe it is losing Brian Dable. I don't know. Something's fishy over there in Buffalo.
Well, when they go on a 2-game win streak coming up, I think people will look at Buffalo a little bit differently because they have a Monday night game at home versus Denver, and then they have a home game in which they're going to get revenge from Week 1 over the Jets. And maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm a fanboy, but
you just admit that?
Okay, wait, hold on. I get that the Buffalo Bills have some struggles. They've had some disappointments in the playoffs. They've, especially this year, they've had some injuries that will really, really hurt them. Oh yeah, Matt Milano. I mean, come on, that's absolutely huge. But I don't like that this is all going to be blamed on Josh Allen. It drives me insane.
I don't think it is. It shouldn't be, at least.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, we put Josh when we did quarterback rankings. He's still top 2. Top 3 with how he's playing this year. Despite being, we talk about the turnovers, but still, he's incredibly talented. I'm not saying it's all on Josh, and he's still in his prime. I get all of that, but it's just, maybe it's how the Buffalo Bills are run. I don't know what it is, but something's fishy, man. And I think that window's closing quicker than people think. I do. With the AFC, and Jesse made this point, and I'm going to read this too. Jesse says, I think they may have won maybe 2 years in the AFC because it's stacked and growing. You got Jags, Houston, Colts, Browns. I mean, we'll see. AFC's tough. Like that rank, and by the way, you pull that ranking up one more time. There's a lot of AFC teams in that top 10, by the way. Like this AFC's tough, man. I mean, you got Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals, Jags, Dolphins. I mean, you got the Bills, of course, but even right behind the Bills, you have the Browns, the Saints. I mean, now coming up. I mean, if the Steelers can get a damn quarterback, if the Chargers can get an actual head coach.
That's what, like all these AFC teams, like they're like a piece away.
Yeah,
and you'd say that Buffalo has their pieces right now. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they could add a running back. Like that would probably be the piece that they're missing. But then if you think if Steelers go out and get a quarterback with Mike Tomlin, Chargers finally get a functional head coach and GM that can draft correctly. Like they've drafted good talent, but it hasn't flowed.
Right.
That's a team.
And after watching what the Bengals did to the Bills at Buffalo last year in the playoffs, in the snow.
I know.
Where they should take pride in playing in the snow.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Of course.
That was embarrassing.
And you know what? Brandon Katz, he actually says something which I think is closer to being correct than you guys want to admit. The AFC is 2 teams, Kansas City and Cincinnati. We can talk about Baltimore all we want and how good they are, and they have a new offensive coordinator and all that. Playoff Lamar Jackson is a concern. If you don't think so, you have your head in the sand. He has been and I've said this a million times, a morbid playoff quarterback. Morbid.
Do you see why people have more confidence in him this year, though, with the weapons that are around him
and the defense?
That's what I mean. That's why I started out with, like, you can respect what they're doing this year. You can respect that they have more weapons. The Todd Monken led offense. It seems to be really doing good.
Georgia's
things.
Finest.
Sure.
Georgia's finest.
Yes, absolutely. But it's just with playoff Lamar, you can't trust him. And I'm certainly as hell am not trusting the Miami Dolphins if they're anything other than the number 1 seed.
What about the Jaguars?
But see,
like it's a conversation. Like going into the playoffs, who do you have more confidence in, the Jaguars or Bills right now?
Bills.
Jags.
You would?
Bills.
I mean, I'm not going to hate you for it, but just off the personnel-wise and how defenses have been playing, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I don't think he hasn't been playing bad, but I think he's going to be getting better as the season goes on.
Yep. I'm with you. What about the Lions? You cool with that ranking? I don't know if I like them behind the Miami Dolphins. That's a little ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing.
Dolphins haven't beat a good team.
I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about soft, the Miami Dolphins. I'm not saying that they don't have like players on their offensive line or defensive line, but when soft is the wrong word. You know what the Miami Dolphins are?
Lucas.
They are front runners, is what they are.
Okay.
And I get it. It is harder to beat good teams away from home. That is as obvious as water is wet and the sky is blue. But they just look like a completely different team. At home against poor teams, they look like the greatest show on turf. They look like the greatest offense in NFL history. But on the road, they wilt like warm lettuce against good teams.
Sam just had like 3 bars in that hole.
They just
you see
do.
that?
Wilt like warm lettuce.
Yeah.
Like warm lettuce.
He said, clear as the sky is blue and water's wet. I mean, this guy's on fire. Okay, you know what?
Shout out Miles Teller from That Awkward Moment. Great movie.
That's where you got it from?
Yeah.
Jesus,
Wilt
man.
like warm lettuce.
This guy's
Absolutely.
cooking. Let's see. Steve-O Baby says, yeah, but Jeff, Miami scored more points than the Lions. I don't care, man. Steve-O, you know that's the points. Okay. I mean, more points, cool. Look at the defense.
Defense, yeah.
Yeah.
Defense is mid.
And I know Miami's in a tough division. I get all that. I mean, they're going up against Buffalo and all that. I get that. But still, Miami has not beaten a good team. And it's not just they haven't beaten them. They've looked pretty bad. Like, at least the Lions beat Kansas City. I don't care that Kelsey and Jones were out. They beat them at Arrowhead. To me, that automatically puts them again in front of the Dolphins. Like, that's what I believe. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll talk more about this specific discussion. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness. Because, guys, let me tell you about Planet Fitness for a second here. It's the home of the judgment-free zone, where anybody, and I mean anybody, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, full-body workout, in just 30 minutes. And all memberships include fitness training. You'll get all this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Sam Laporta.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests, for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer with 18 locations. There's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest to you. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, first-class buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. Catch Woodward Sports Live from Feldman Chevrolet every other Monday. Feldman Chevrolet.
Feldman Chevrolet.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate your presence. Like I said, we're 3 away from 150 likes on the stream. So if you can hit that like button, man, we much appreciate it. And I saw this post on Woodward Sports, and Lucas and the boys, I
wonder who cooked this graphic up.
It was the Lucas Klotz, Toledo's own, Toledo's finest. But here's the graphic. This is crazy, by the way.
Especially that bottom one. That bottom stat, I was like,
which is George Kittle's like MO.
I was like, yeah, Kittle's probably gonna blow him out of the water with this dam, but I'll put it on there. I was like, oh my god,
guys, what is who is this man? Yeah, this man was summoned from the football heavens and dropped in Allen Park. Brad Holmes waved his wand and summoned him. And this man has been already one of the best tight ends in the NFL. You see the stats. Both played 8 games. 43 receptions to George Kittle's 32. And that, George Kittle hasn't really been as much involved as he probably should be. But regardless, it is impressive that George Kittle with less catches has more yards. But the crazy thing is Laporta's just in this convo. I mean, he's got 43 catches to George's 32, 434 yards to George Kittle's 443, 1 more TD, and 4 more yards after the catch, 187 to 183. This is unbelievable. This is an all-pro tight end. This is a guy that we would say is a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. All right. Don't give Lucas that much credit. He's still got to.
Well, no, I'm saying George Kittle.
Oh, George Kittle, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Sorry. Sam Laporta. Hey, if he keeps up this production, man, I think Lucas might have been cooking.
No, George Kittle is absolutely a Hall of Famer. And I think what this graphic speaks to is that even you, Lucas Klotz, you would have never envisioned that Sam Laporta would have basically a wash when it comes to production with George Kittle this season, because George Kittle, I would say he's at the tail end of his prime, and we already said he is a Hall of Fame level tight end, a guy who's had 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL. Yep. And Sam Laporta, as a rookie, I thought that it would be. He would take the path of a lot of rookies, kind of struggle to get himself into the season, kind of like guys like Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer and Luke Musgrave have done. Although they've done some things, it's been kind of a slow moving along process. Sam Laporta has basically right out of the gate said, I am him. I am one of the best tight ends in the NFL already. This man might get to a Pro Bowl this year.
I think what other NFC tight end? Goddard just got hurt. He fractured
George
his
Kittle,
forearm.
T.J. Hawkinson. I think that's his competition, right?
Mm-hmm. It would be his comp, yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, look, and this is his rookie season. Sam Laporta, and I know that he'd have to maybe pick up the pace a tad, he could get 1,000 yards his rookie year as a tight end, something that only 2 people have ever done. Even if he gets like 800, it's an absolutely huge season. And he has already been somebody that Jared Goff already trusts, is already one of his favorite targets. And when you look at the yards after catch, he's already had a flair for the big plays as well, which is something that was something that we thought that he could do coming out of Iowa. Just even this year, we're like, he might not get a ton of catches, but I could see him breaking one. But he has not only done that, he's gotten the big first downs on 3rd and 5. He had a big 45-yard touchdown catch early on in the season against Atlanta. He has pretty much done it all. He's been a threat in the red zone. So Sam Laporta, he has quite frankly been one of the best offensive or even rookies, period, in the NFL this year, regardless of draft position.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Sam Laporta, dude, is like, and we kind of had similar expectations for him. Like, I thought you'd come out his rookie year, you'd have 500 yards, a couple TDs, and then you'd see that gradual growth like we've seen with most tight ends. Dude just walked out and said, yeah, I'm him. I'm him. Like, that's how. And Jared Goff, by the way, and we got to get that clip of you, Lucas, because you were pretty spot on, because you said he'd be a safety blanket for Jared Goff, and he had the same quote. He just said it.
You mean this one?
Oh, God.
I'm taking the investment here. He's a rookie, but I truly, truly believe with all the ability that he has and where the NFL is going, Sam Laporta is going to be an NFL Hall of Famer when it's all said. I swear. You look at a quarterback. So we have Jared Goff right now. He's going to love him.
Wait, whoa.
I'm heavily invested into this.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correct. You said Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta. Do you think George Kittle, when it's all said and done, will go down as a Hall of Famer?
Of course.
But hold on, hear me out. Yeah. You guys do. Shake head, yes, no. Do we have an agreement there?
Well, I think so. Jeff Iafrate, what do you think? Is George Kittle a Hall of Famer?
Yes, he will be a Hall of Famer. I don't know where you're going with this, but continue.
Sam Laporta, rookie tight end, he's not going to put it up right away. Just like George Kittle in his rookie season, he was streaky. He was good, but he was streaky. But a quarterback's best friend is his tight end. And after Jared Goff leaves, we're going to have Hendon Hooker and Sam Laporta. And I'm telling you, that duo is going to be one of the best in the league. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, but it's going to be damn near close to Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle. And after the run, Sam Laporta can do pretty much everything George Kittle does after the run. And where the NFL is going to be more pass happy. Sam Laporta, I know it sounds crazy, but I think he has all the skill sets to be an NFL Hall of Famer, and with this offense, I don't see why it would be stopping him. August 14th.
Oh my God.
2023. Now, I was off a little bit.
8:37 a.m.
I will say, I was off. I did say I think he's going to be streaky his rookie year. So he even, to Flannel's point, I didn't even expect this production, but I called it.
Yeah, dude, when I heard it, and that's the thing, it's just Lions fandom. Like, I'm sitting there going, what? Like another Hall of Famer? Like, I couldn't process it. Lucas, you were spot on. And the thing is about what you said there is, and by the way, this makes up for the CJ Stroud stuff. Like, you know what? Forget everything you said.
I'm glad. We'll leave the Clayton tune.
No, just the Clayton tune, the Stroud, all those takes, just throwing them in the garbage. We'll go with Sam Laporta. That is one of your proudest moments. That is awesome. And the thing that you nailed, too, is the yards after catch. Mm-hmm. You said that. You literally said, I think he'll be just as, if not more productive after the catch. And he has 4 more yards in the man after the catch. So spot on. And you watch his film at Iowa, he was making dudes miss consistently. And I was with you, he'll be the best tight end. I just didn't think it happened year one.
Dude, and
I didn't think it happened year one. I looked at tight ends, I thought he'll be better than Kincaid. I thought he'd be better than, your boy Michael Mayer. No, I'm just kidding. But Michael Mayer.
I deserve that.
But regardless, Lucas, the impact he has as a rookie is unbelievable. And
I'll tell you what, I know I'm getting a little geeky with this, but Iowa's offense misses Sam Laporta bad. You thought they were bad last year. They are even worse this season. I think Sam Laporta was kind of carrying them on his back. And we shouldn't have, and I even was a little bit guilty of this at times. The fact that Sam Laporta was even able to put up the production that he did at Iowa is a damn miracle. And you see it in the NFL. Once he gets an NFL offense, Ben Johnson instead of Brian Ferentz, he gets Jared Goff instead of Spencer Petras. He gets the Lions offensive line versus the Iowa offensive line. He is going to absolutely thrive, and he has. He is, like, I know taking the victory lap over Hall of Fame is a little premature, but this is a Hall of Fame. This is an all-time great rookie tight end season.
Start.
1,000%.
Yeah, dude,
1,000%.
You see a stat pop up every week. Sam Laporta, Mike Ditka. Sam Laporta, Mike Ditka. Like that. Like,
Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts,
Yeah.
by the way. For everyone who hates on Kyle Pitts did something only one other person has done besides him.
Yeah, 1,000 yards, man. It's incredible. All right, let's go to
Shout
break.
out Jonnu Smith, 4 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown last week.
Yeah, only Arthur Smith would be like, you know what? I got Kyle Pitts and I got Bijan Robinson. Summon Jonnu Smith and summon Tyler Algier.
Oh, my God.
Let's use those guys, huh?
He deserves fired.
Yeah,
I
guy-
was wrong. Arthur Smith sucks.
Yeah, that is embarrassing. We talked about Jameer. We talked about him early on. Man, Falcons fans are sick of Arthur Smith.
We got something for that at 9:40.
You know what? Let's get to it. First, though, I got to tell you about our friends over at Hamlin Pub because, guys, have you wanted to be at a bar where you're known as a regular? I know you do. Go to Hamlin Pub. They got one right by my house. I go in there. Me and my dad go over there, watch some Michigan games, NFL games, have a couple brewskis. They got delicious wings, by the way. You join in there, and you could experience where everyone's a regular. Head to one of their 7 locations, of course, and we'll have a post-game show there in the future, so look forward to that over in Rochester. But regardless, Hamlin Pub, starting at $8, game day specials, every NFL game, and Michigan sports. www.hamlinpubs.com. And then after that...
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then, she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live every home game for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market and Shed number 5, and it is always a bash. Our next one is going to be November 19th. Not this Sunday, but the one after. Starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time, getting you ready for the Lions' big matchup against the Chicago Bears. I will actually be at that one.
You'll be at the Bears game?
I will,
Hell yeah.
yes. The official Lions tailgate is back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
Like, that's cool. You go to the Bears game, Sam, but are you going to wear your Khalil Herbert jersey or not? What do you think about that?
Well, the reason I actually mentioned that is I will not only be at the game, I will be at the tailgate.
Oh, look
Flannel
at that.
getting rowdy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Flannel getting rowdy. That's a
Drunk
scene.
in rage about Khalil Herbert?
Mistakes were made by me.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. All right. You know what time it is. Check the watches, check the clocks. It's What's Trending with Lucas. Lucas, what do you got for us?
Well, we're going to send it over to JB for a second because he helped me out again. And
Is this an alley-oop?
This is an alley-oop. This is now Pippen throwing a lob to Michael Jordan.
Oh man, so for this video, I gotta say Lucas invited me to the gym earlier this week, and
he did.
I cannot match this man's energy, and I will fully admit that. So Lucas, if you don't mind running the video, showing everybody.
We have footage. What the? Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I cannot match this man's energy. So let it be known, Lucas, all out at the gym.
That's
man.
me after about 5 minutes of Goggins. Pelicans on the treadmill. That's what I'm at.
Bro, is he from Toledo? Like, do you have a confirmation? Is that a Toledo Planet Fitness?
That might be more of a Bowling Green man. I don't know about Toledo. Bowling Green maybe, though.
Yeah, Bowling Green don't make them like that.
But that video was definitely shocking. Something else that was shocking, especially the Falcons fans, Arthur Smith, okay? Listen to what this man said yesterday. He went on the stand. You know what he told Falcons fans? First round pick, Bijan Robinson, says his impact away from the ball can open things up. And I put under thank you, Ben Johnson, for opening up Jahmyr Gibbs. And then you go, open things up, and you want to compare it to this? I'll get my face out of here. Look at these stats. In 9 games, look at the difference between Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson's production.
He's getting more touches and red zone touches. That's crazy.
Bijan Robinson has only had 1 carry inside the 5-yard line this year. 1.
Disgrace.
Oh, come on! So as Lions fan, my question to you guys, when you see this, and you see how panicked Lions fans, including, I'll even say myself, like I wasn't like hitting the red button, but I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, this man's a stud. You could say the same thing about Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. So when you see that as a Lions fan, what is your reaction?
Relieved. To be honest, that Arthur Smith is not. It's funny, he interviewed to be a Detroit Lions head coach a couple years ago, actually, when Dan was hired. And I liked Arthur Smith. I'm glad they hired Dan Campbell. Arthur Smith, to me, man, he's interesting. Like, and by the
fraud.
Yeah, like really interesting. And by the way, he was having a pretty good start with the Falcons. We all were giving him some love there, but how he's handled the Bijan and Kyle Pitts thing is just, it makes no sense. I get, as a coach, you got to go, feed the hot hand. I get all of that. But there also is a part of being a head coach where you have to just do certain things. And one of those things, Sam, is feed your top 10 pick running back.
Oh, yeah.
That's part of it. Especially a guy like Bijan who can make you miss. Why not give him? He should be getting most of the red zone touches.
I mean,
most of them.
I told you earlier, and the graphic kind of showed that out, that Tyler Algier is averaging 3.2 yards per carry, and Bijan Robinson is averaging 5. I believe, even more so now, that Bijan Robinson could be the best running back in the NFL. But so could Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way. But Bijan Robinson has the talent to do that. And one of the only things that could hold him back is Arthur Smith.
But by the way, fantasy owners. Oh, and I saw this comment. Tim says, "Not happy taking him with my number 1 fantasy pick."
I don't want to talk about it.
Tim, and you're a victim of that, JB?
Yeah, I got him in 1 league too.
Rest in peace to all the Bijan Robinson fantasy owners. Like, if there's anybody, Falcons fans hate Arthur Smith, Lucas, but I think fantasy owners hate that man even more. Who have Bijan Robinson?
Yeah,
it's absurd.
Somebody else that is worth talking about. We talk about Jordan all through this episode, but one man has called out LeBron James. Jeff, you're king. LeBron James.
Hold on,
and who else besides Dylan Brooks?
Oh, no.
Ready to lock him up. He's shooting the ball well. He's been playing well. So I'm just there to make him tired, make him get into that, fourth quarter early. Ready to lock him up.
Ready to lock him up.
Dylan Brooks. You don't know what's coming to you. And I'll tell you this, Dylan Brooks. You should have learned your lesson the first time. Okay? And it's okay. Hey, make a mistake once, shame on you. Make a mistake twice, shame on me. And this is going to be a shame on you moment, Dylan Brooks. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? I'm going to lock him up. By the way, I like the confidence. But can you actually do it? I mean, this is the thing I hate about Dylan Brooks is he talks and there's no action behind him talking. If this man were to say I'm going to lock him up and locks up LeBron, I got respect for Dylan Brooks. But he keeps chirping and things keep happening to him. Steph Curry made this man touch earth. Like, Dylan Brooks to me is irrelevant. These comments are so stupid. I swear. It's not even about LeBron. It's just about Dylan Brooks. I'm saying every time he says something, I'm going to throw money on the opposing guy he's talking about to score a ton of points. Well, that's how it works.
And
he can't stop a nosebleed.
Well, and here's the thing. As much as people don't want to admit this, LeBron James is in year 21. He is not going to be able to. He's not who he once was, and he's not going to be able to bring it at his A game every single night. It'd be irresponsible if he even tried. He needs to be fresh for the playoffs. But that being said, LeBron James, in this stage of his career, if he wants to use this as bulletin board material and then maybe take turn back the clock a little bit, I could see him having that Game 6 in 2012 against the Boston Celtics. Remember, like, before the game where he had that look on his face and went out and had probably the best game of his entire career. I'm not saying he's going to do that, but he wants to embarrass and humiliate Dillon Brooks, and I believe that's exactly what he's going to do. Dillon Brooks, he's having a good year, but overall, as a character, as like a wannabe villain of the NBA, he's an absolute clown and a bum. Like that's what
Sam Flannel approved.
Did you know that this clown referred to himself, gave himself the nickname in college at Oregon as Villain Brooks?
Oh,
what
my
a show!
God.
Hey.
What is this? Wait, what is this? Who made this?
Who do you
Ryan
think made
Lenz.
that?
Ryan, what?
For sure.
I saw him do it.
This is amazing.
Dude, he has like 6 screenshots. Let's pan through them.
What?
They're all of Flannel just falling. When he fell out of the chair, he just screenshotted each one. I was in tears.
I'm a crazy person.
You were a fucking psycho yesterday, dude.
I was.
I was. Hoove says, I like Dillon Brooks. He's actually funny as hell. I'll give Hoove that, though. He is funny as hell. And I hate when he talks. You know, Cobezilla says Thriller. I know. I made that graphic of Sam and Michael Jackson. I don't know if I think Spencer has it. The Big D Energy template. I wish you had it, man. It is funny as hell. And they play it all the time on Big D Energy. Jake says this is the best flannel graphic yet. Look at that. That's it right there. That's Thriller. That's Michael Jackson Thriller right there. All right, let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get to mailbag. Get your questions ready. Of course. But again, before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends over at
Premier Pet. Yes.
Sam has to tell you about our friends over at Premier Pet.
Absolutely. When it comes to your pet, don't settle. Even though I look like a crazy person in those pictures, I still have wonderful pets, and animal control has not been called on me because I give my pet the best, my golden retriever Jake and my orange cat Milo, because I give them everything at Premier Pet. Give your pet the best like I give my pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands out Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Man loves Milo too much.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
How would you like to win a $100K Vegas getaway? Take your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Centron Energy Drink It and Live It sweepstakes. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter for your chance to win. Register at drinkcentron.com/Vegas and buy Centron at your local Meijer store. Centron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself. Once again, that website, drinkcentron.com/Vegas.
You get Centron, you head over to Les Stanford, right? You're driving a new car from Les Stanford, you pop open a Centron, and you enjoy it. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford has been doing by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today. Find the brand you want at lesstanford.com. It's time for mailbag. Let's get to some questions here. Let's see. I love this guy. This cop, dude, the people are hilarious. Just reading some of these. Brad Hendricks, Sam will be getting a different type of cat at the tailgate.
Oh. I'm a married man.
Hey, well, maybe that's what he's referring to.
Right.
Right, there you go. He's like, right.
Of course, yeah.
Dante, 151 mailbag. Did you see Shaq congratulating the Colorado Buffaloes women basketball team for beating #1 LSU? That's such a Shaq thing to do. Like, it just is.
I wasn't familiar with your game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna lie though. It kind of felt good to see Angel Reese take an L. Not a fan of hers either.
That's just like a random thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Okay.
I wasn't really familiar with your game.
You got the drop too, JB. Damn. Hello, Sam says, why did Sam automatically think it was going to be someone other than his wife? He's just, he's a married man. You know, he wants to make sure things are clear.
Everything's good.
Everything's good. Chuck Brewer says, remember Shaq went to LSU? I know that, but just why? Like, you know, I don't know. It's just Shaq's such a good dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think you were saying something bad.
Like, what's the reason? Like, congratulations to Colorado women's the Buffalo team for beating LSU. Congratulations. Like, you didn't have
Buffs.
to go Buffs. You did not need to do that. Let's see. Jesse, mailbag. Sam. First, I'll get to Big Con. He asked one first. Mailbag, how many offensive rushing yards and defensive sacks do the Lions need to secure a win? That's a specific question. I think rushing yards, I don't think there's a specific number, but they got to be able to move the chains. I think time of possession is going to be really important. So enough to move the chains. I mean, if you want to say 100 for David, okay, cool, that's fine. I don't know if there's a specific number. Defensive sacks, though, they got to get 4 to 5. I mean, they got to get after, maybe not even just sacks, but pressures. Sacks, of course, are their ultimate goal, but I think for rushing yards and defensive sacks, yeah, they got to have one of their better games.
Yeah,
I would agree.
It's hard to give a specific number because things don't always work out the way you want. Sometimes you don't run the ball effectively and you still win. But I will humor him. I will say at least 100 rushing yards and at least 3 sacks. I think if they can get to that, they'll be in good shape.
Lions total rushing yards?
Yeah.
I think they get 150.
They could. I'm just saying at least 100. Yeah.
Jesse says, mailbag Sam, what will be your spin zone be if PSU beats Michigan this weekend? Second question, Jeff, JB, who you guys got for the UFC card this weekend? Who you got in the main event? Well, I'll let you answer that one first. You're nervous? You're shaking in your boots?
I mean, I'm not nervous. It'll be the toughest game they've played all year. That's for damn sure. Will I spin zone though? It kind of depends on how the game plays out. But I will say this: their season is not over if they lose at Penn State. But that would be a tough loss. I would be pretty devastated. I would probably have to have one of my old college nights the night after. I mean, the following night, where I just drink a whole lot, smoke like a pack and a half of cigarettes, and call it Uber. Yeah.
He's so weak watching Flannel just absolutely power through a chain smoke cigarettes inside too. Doesn't get up off the couch.
Oh, dude, I'm not smoking inside. That would be bad. But
got to give your pets the best.
Yeah, gotta get Milo. You got Milo and Jake. JB, who do you got in the main event? I think for me, I'll go Sergey and Yuri probably. And I think Pereira's a good matchup, but I just think Yuri he's gonna control this man on the ground. So I'm gonna give Yuri the edge there, and I'll go with, of course, the polar bear.
Yeah,
that dude's an intimidating human being.
I kind of feel like Shaq with Yuri. I'm unfamiliar with this game, so I kind of got to lean towards Alex Pereira on that one. But yeah, I would definitely go Sergey on the
we agreed there.
The co-main event.
Yeah, we agree there. This question too, Chef Talks, mailbag Jeff. How can a man call himself the greatest of all time and do nothing to try and take every team's best player, so he doesn't have to compete for champions?
Jesus Christ.
Chef, I love you. I love you, but I've been arguing this for so long. I just don't got the juice today to even go at it about LeBron.
There's no more excuses.
I mean, this man has had to face. And yes, you know what, LeBron, if you want to say he started the super team era, cool with Miami, fine, whatever, cool. I'll say this though. What about the Warriors with KD? Had to go toe to toe with the greatest team ever assembled, in my opinion. I will say that, and I'll stand by that. And still, even without Kyrie and Kevin Love in the first series against Golden State pre-KD, he still took 2 games, and they were up 2-1. So if you want to bring up all the stuff, cool, but let's not act like LeBron isn't great. I think that's where it gets misconstrued, is people have this hate for LeBron already, and nothing else will change the narrative. For me, I just respect greatness. I know what he's done to my Pistons. Don't worry. That shit pisses me off. But at the end of the day, you can't not respect the guy.
Yep.
That's how I feel. I respect great players.
I mean, here's the reality of the situation, and I won't go too long. Let me just explain this. When Michael got drafted to the Bulls, they eventually got him Scottie Pippen. When Kobe got drafted to the Lakers or got traded to the Lakers on draft night, he inherited who would later be on to become the best player in the league at center and got 3 finals, and Shaq got 3 finals MVPs. When Steph Curry got drafted by the Warriors, they then drafted Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. With LeBron James, there were a lot of J.J. Hicksons, the likes of those. Luke Jackson. Have you ever heard of Luke Jackson?
Boobie Gibson. That's all I'm saying, is that no superstar in the history of the NBA would have been able to win championships with those Cleveland teams. That's facts. What about this question, Lucian? Because we're going a little over, man. Well, screw it. Also, mailbag, I'm more confident we could beat any NFC team than the Ravens, Bengals, Dolphins, Eagles, and Chiefs are equally scary. I forgot what his original question. Oh, mailbag, are you going to each Lions playoff game at home or just one? I think it's going to be near impossible to go to this playoff game, dude. Like, the prices, of course, will be high, but it'll be sold out. So you're going to have to know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy to get in my opinion. And I think for me personally, although the environment will be electric, I'd rather watch it with, my boys. Or watch
We'll be doing the stream.
Yeah, it'll be fun to enjoy the playoff win with my guys. You know what I mean? Rather than going to a playoff game, and the atmosphere is crazy, but and I'll envy that, but I appreciate. There's something about watching a game at home too. I like it, and you get to enjoy it and scream and punch the wall in peace. You know what I mean? And get excited. And
I was at that game. I'd streak. I'm streaking the field if they win.
Dude, imagine leaving the arena if they win. No one's safe.
Finding Pete Carroll streaking and strip sacking him. Clipboard out of the hand.
What kind of strip sack you talking?
That is true. That's on
yeah,
Dwight
Howard.
Howard. Dwight Howard. Pause.
JB, clip.
No,
hey, JB.
No.
JB, clip.
We have an alliance, JB.
JB?
We have an alliance. JB knows.
That's
JB?
BS. That's collusion.
Shake hands, JB?
That's collusion.
There you go.
That Connor Stallion stuff's true about JB, man. Like, Lucas slips him something, and he just does not clip this man. Whatever. Still love you, JB.
Alliance.
But appreciate you guys for joining the show. Again, great show on Wednesday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB the GOAT, and then Toledo's own, Toledo's finest, Lucas Klotz. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Again, Big D Energy 11 to 1, Ermanni and Edwards 2 to 4. Of course, the Heavies 5 to 7, and then Woodward Nights 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with the boys. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday.